Sure. All right, this meeting is live, so I will pass it on to our acting chair today, Mayor Bell, to call this meeting to order.
Meeting being called to order at 5:40 for the January 28th meeting of the Miami Lake Section 1 Gargay District meeting. Gonna do the roll call. James.
Here.
Bernard.
Yep.
Helen here. Suzanne here. Sumara absent, so one member absent. Okay. Do we look at the agenda? Do we have any deferrals, additions, deletions?
Through the acting chair, the only thing I would request is if you feel confident holding the elections, just so we can be in the proper posture moving forward. Or if you wanted to hold off just because Humana's not here, but if we were going to change anything, I think elections should be handled just so we know who will be doing what for the remainder of the meeting.
So you're suggesting that we
Bump
defer
election.
or that we do it?
I would suggest holding it as soon as the first item.
Holding it, like
Yeah.
not holding it.
Not holding it off, no.
What
So
do-
Jeremy's, you're saying is move item 6B.
All the way to right after public comment, which
Right.
as of right now, I don't anticipate any.
So I'll motion to move the elections to be the first item of business after public comment. Anybody want a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then the committee will now hold the election for next chair and vice chair. Secretary, I mean, all the positions will have to be,
Yes, ideally all three positions, so that's chair, vice chair, and the secretary.
Can we vote the person who's not here?
Because we can make-
Was she planning on being chair? No.
She was vice chair.
Right.
so do we first need to have a motion for chair?
So you have options, as far as the way you want to hold it, you can do it open, or if you wanted to do cast, like paper casting, but yeah, ideally you would go with chair and go in descending order for the elected positions.
Is it 3 or 4?
3.
I know it's weird, but so public comments, none? Is there nobody here? Or is there any like online?
I'm sorry, yeah, we said we do it after the public comment. You're correct. Thank you.
But some,
Yeah.
I remember in the past, Christina used to like, sometimes there was some emails that would be public
That would
comment.
I'm not aware of any of this.
Okay,
I will say this as well, that I just gained access to her total email box earlier today.
wow.
But everything as of February 3rd or 4th, I have had access and I have not received anything yet.
Okay.
So as of February, I haven't received anything.
Okay.
Okay, so therefore, to make things thoroughly in order, on the deferral additions and deletions, we moved item B from new business to be number item A immediately after public comments. So now I'm going to ask if there are any public comments, either in the audience or from emails. We don't
None
seem
from
to
emails?
have any.
I will do my due diligence to make sure there's no one like Helen that might have been locked out at the front. And then I will report back if there's no one else waiting.
The funny thing is I came yesterday. I don't know.
Monday,
I-
that's really Monday something.
I don't know, but I had it. I showed up and a bunch of people, there was a meeting yesterday. Oh, how you doing? And I walk in, I come in here and I look, I was like, none of the faces were familiar. And I said, you guys all left and they put a bunch of new people. And then it was like, so they looked at, I just stood at the door and they're like, what are you here for? I'm like, section 1, like, no, it's not here. This is the, I don't know, whatever committee. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything going on today. And I even said, I go, I'm such a nerd. Maybe I'm here early. And I go, yeah, it's tomorrow. And they were like, come on. I was like, okay, wait, how do you get?
No one at this time.
Okay. So then, we're gonna move to then, item 1 now, which would be holding the election of selecting the chair, vice chair, and secretary for the Miami Lake Section 1 Gargay District. Any motions?
they're gonna hate me, but I'm gonna nominate, Rennie for chair.
I second.
I know you know how to run it.
Yes.
I've heard you know how to
Discussion.
run it.
Good idea.
I've heard it. I've heard that you can do it.
Discussion on any, are there any other nominations? Then we should take a vote on, or not?
Yeah, if there's no other discussions and he's not gonna openly fight it,
There you go.
Then all those in favor
Aye.
of Mario being the new chair. Okay, congratulations. Now we will.
So that would, for house cleaning, that starts when? Next meeting?
Well, this meeting,
effective after we take all
After we do that.
opposition. Yeah.
Okay, and that, and just that whole, that's for the remainder of the calendar year? So come January, next year, we'll do the same thing.
Or February, because since we alter every other month and so,
Okay.
just the first
So
meeting
for
of the year.
sure- For sure through the, okay, I got you.
we need a motion for vice chair.
Can we nominate Samara? Wasn't she vice president? Vice
Yeah, I
chair?
know, if you want to be vice chair,
She was last year.
yeah, I know it.
I wonder, but she's not here.
Where do you stand, Maribel?
I was going to nominate Suzanne. For vice chair.
I will second your nomination.
Okay,
You have great leadership in front of you now.
Yeah,
Mayor
like the
Bell
elections are
first.
on the county.
I do.
ACC second.
Elections are on the county, we need new blood.
Are you gonna
Second.
openly reject it?
No.
Okay, good.
Good question. Okay, it seems, any other nominations,
Any other discussion?
discussion, comment? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, vice chair.
thank you.
Renier already submitted, he's gonna miss the next 3 meetings.
All these appointments came in and I was,
You.
And last but not least, secretary.
I think Maribel.
I love my
Nominate
name.
Maribel.
Are you in? Okay, well, I'll motion and I think we keep Maribel.
Retain.
Retain,
The current.
retainage.
I first, anybody second me?
Anybody
Second.
second?
James second. Are you gonna openly oppose it?
Not openly opposing.
There we go.
I want to serve my community.
There you go.
She's really great.
No, he's minutes are.
Wow.
Who second
Yeah.
that?
I firsted and James seconded. Yeah, take it to a vote. though.
All those in favor?
Aye. There we go. Last time it was, we were like drawing
Pulling
blood.
the teeth, our representative. But I just want to say on behalf of the town, I mean, I thank you all for your volunteer and for your time, but even more so now for our newly, or some reinstated, but newly elected board members. I appreciate everything you guys have done and will continue to do for your community. So just thank you on our end.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I will now pass it to our newly elected chair to continue the running of this meeting.
All right, next up, approval of the minutes.
So I got a copy of October 24.
Yes.
Yes, correct. We still have not received, I know Maribel was not present for the December meeting, so we're still missing the minutes from December.
Did do you have a copy of the video? Do you know how to catch that?
I did not do that, actually, and I think that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
That should be taken into consideration when, you know. That's like, that was my conversation with Christina. I knew that something, when you said it is 24th, I wasn't there on the stage.
Because when it did happen to me, I mean, I'm not a techie person and whoever would send me the link to that video and then from there I would do the minutes.
Yes, I can send them to you. I know they
I think
immediately
there's
post
somebody at the door.
to our,
When I
Oh, yeah. If Danny didn't lock it.
Those
Yeah,
are
that
more
was it.
particular. I had to watch a video for something.
I forgot something like that, I can't get it.
Okay, no, I just saying.
You get in there?
I
Okay, I
was
get
like,
it.
what do I do? And they send me the link.
No, you're right, and I did it once for something that I didn't understand. And I went back, I remember from Christina and I going over the video. So that should have been my response. Well, lately,
You can send her the minutes.
Yeah, I can send you the video link directly.
maybe I'll draft it.
And I'll take this time, I know I kind of mentioned it as we were getting in and slowly waiting for form, but the town did adopt new committee rules. And one of the key stickler items is minutes and agenda being submitted. Usually we assist with the agenda, so it's not too much of a concern for our NSDs. That's part of your liaison's job. But the minutes, in order to have a factual account from a board member, they need to be submitted 3 days in advance with the agenda. The concern the town is starting to get into is there are certain committees without minutes for almost a year, and that poses a public record issue when you have essentially tax dollars being spent with no proper documentation of action being taken by the advisory board. So moving forward, there is a moratorium right now for the first set of meetings for all committees, the first meeting of this year, since the new rules have been adopted. But moving forward, it will result in a postponement of a meeting if the agenda and the minutes are not submitted within the appropriate time. Your liaison will effectively communicate that deadline to make sure we don't have that issue, but just know that we won't continue to hold meetings missing 2 sets, 3 sets of minutes moving forward. And that's townwide, not just NSDs, but that's all committees.
Everybody have a chance to look at the October minutes? We have to make a motion, right? We have a motion to accept
Yeah.
the October 24th minutes.
Somebody has to move the approval. of them. Maybe she might be missing some one that takes them.
I'll motion to approve the October 24, 2022 minutes
Moved by Ellen. Second,
into the.
by James. All those in favor?
Fine.
Minutes are approved.
Next item of security guard services, updates and reports.
Right now with John not here yet, I might step out to give him a call. I don't know if you guys want to,
I'll motion to move it to last item, so we'll give the opportunity for him to show up.
Yeah.
Anybody second my motion?
I second it.
So that's a report. All those,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, access card update.
so Christina did brief me before she left, on the status of updating cards. As of January, I've had no additional pickups, which means there's still a good amount of cards. And I do believe she also informed me that at one point you guys wanted to hold a cutoff. I don't know if that was never something to be considered as far as when those would go into rotation for selling additional cards. That was never discussed. So we can continue to hold off. They right now, remember, they're associated with the property owner. So they can stay there in limbo. Or we can start to flex them into eventually when there's an absolute need. Right now, we do have a few other in surplus for additional cards, but eventually, I don't know if the board wants to think about putting a deadline to inform the residents one more time. We can do it part of the next mail out. And if your card is not picked up by this time, it'll be.
Do you know how many?
I don't have the total number on me right now.
Well, I remember there was 800 and something homes by 2, and then you guys had extra, so.
It's in the hundreds, so I think it might be 300, something like that.
That might be a good idea to give a deadline and say, you're gonna have to pay for it from this point forward.
And it may not, it may just be so they're aware that they have to pick it up. But the bigger reason is, at what point do we start to order and spend more money on additional cards when there are cards associated? And all it would be removing the address associated to that to that serial number and reassociating it to a new one. So that's the one update I have on Access Card update. I have also, since February, it's not that much time, but we have gotten some reports of cards not working turned in. I test them and they work perfectly fine. But I've returned 2 sets of cards already.
That's like.
Well, it might be, is-
What happened?
2 or 3 people, basically.
2 or 3 people, and those same cards, I took it through both gatehouses for residents, and it worked.
so you have cards now in case somebody wants to get one. and do
We have a little bit left on our
So
surplus.
why don't it be just when you run out of the circle?
Well, that's I just wanted to, that's part of the briefing, just to make you guys aware.
Rather than keeping hundreds of them just sitting there paid for, start using those.
So I think that's where I was saying, if we want to put a deadline,
Well, I'll tie that conversation into, because I see later on you have, agenda item is surveys. I remember last year, at some point, there was a mail out that was done.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that we're gonna do a mail out, so please, nobody and anybody listening to this, come back and Helen wants a mail out. But if that's gonna go somewhere, then I would tell you, I would come back to that contact and maybe put that in that
Okay.
mail out. Because I think one of the biggest issues that, we hear is, how do we communicate to everybody? I'm of the position is, this is an open, this is a public forum, we have our meetings, they're announced on the agenda, you can come and find out. If you don't come, I shouldn't be knocking on your door to tell you. I get that. So if there's gonna be some sort of mail out that we're gonna discuss a little bit later this afternoon, then I will tell you, definitely, I would wanna vote on that. If not, I would say let's wait another, to the next meeting and then we can,
reassess.
now that you put that thought, is that way when we all go back to our HOA or board meetings, we can bring up and find out what's the feel of that group, right?
Mhm.
And come back and say, we all agree, let's put a cutoff time, but right now, I'm.
And that was exactly my goal. It was just to put it on your radar. Part of that update and report is just to give you guys a heads up that that large amount still stays around the same. And we haven't had much change since Christina's time. So as of the new year, we haven't had much.
I think it's a good point for all of us when we have our next board meetings to bring it up at our board meetings, whether they're ill attended or not, and find out. So the next meeting we come here, we're all come back and we're ready to vote one way or the other, I think.
So we'll table it this time and
Yeah, well, I
then
know.
bring it up in the next meeting.
All the new people, it's like, how do I get a card? That's not, I'm surprised that somebody of them.
I do have 3 new cards right now being processed. So there are 3 people who are new homeowners or renters, and they're going through the process now. But it hasn't been a huge influx.
I have 3 new neighbors. In front,
Yeah.
in front, and next door.
Three or four new homeowners, I'm surprised.
And they have no idea, they park their cars in the wrong.
I'm surprised.
You want to have more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we,
So they just need to come here or they can do it on.
No, it's online, directly on the special taxing, the neighborhood service district's webpage. You click Miami Lake Section 1, and it's the first form that's there. Is your Miami Lake Section 1 smart card application.
so this is just a discussion, there's no motion and
It's
action on
just-
this.
just discussion.
The discussion on this.
And the cards that we have, the excess surplus cards, are they designated to a specific property?
No,
No,
they're
they're free.
Yeah, they're free. All they carry is a serial number, and then we associate them to it.
Okay.
Run out of those ones that are designated, start using them up. Instead of buying new ones.
It's not gonna be a rush
Okay.
for-
What?
It's not gonna be a rush from.
There is a lot more, there is a
Yeah.
lot more people.
So they just figure they just go through this. or-
Yeah, it's
This is pretty quick.
This is faster than.
I got that, it's faster than going through some.
Yeah.
Going through.
Now, according to the minutes of October, they issued 1,299. I guess since then we haven't had much.
Okay.
And if we had, the ones I've seen are through applications, which means they're aside from the original 1,800 or 1,700 order.
Okay, next up, LPR update.
I hope you got a lot of info, Sharon, because in October, it said we should receive them in January. Uh-oh, his face is telling me, no bueno.
We received an update January, it was mid-January from our vendor. And our vendor had updates from Motorola. Motorola's original deadline was New Year, new piece of equipment. They failed to meet their deadline. When we got word back at the end of January, they told us we'll know once we meet with Motorola at a very, very large trade show. I got report back in February. Motorola has pushed back to March. Motorola, I just found out though, 2 weeks ago, started fulfilling pre-orders. So those who pre-ordered are starting to get their shipments released. Right now, our vendor is still in limbo. He's telling me this is what Motorola is telling him. At this point, I've called him 3 times since the 1st of February. He's giving me the contact for Motorola directly.
So we shouldn't be paying him.
So, well, no, I mean, he's done his due diligence. It's, at the end of the day, Motorola is telling them.
It's supply, it's going around.
And I think it goes back to the issues of chips and some of that. Now, what I did request, because I've already dealt with this 3 times in the past month. I requested anything you have in stock, I want your total price breakdown compared to what we already discussed as far as our budget. And I want to bring you those options. On top of that, I will still go through Motorola. I'll call them myself and I'll see what they have and what they're telling their direct clients, not their distributors. The hardest thing is this is the newest technology and it was at a great price. And we will be probably going back a step in order to get something done quickly. And that's my only real hesitation, but I still want the price. I still want to see what they can do for us. In my discussion with them today, I want to know if they're willing to install and then change once it's readily available in the market. What am I looking at? What can you do for us? And that exactly to what was brought up. Right now, I understand that you're having issues, but understand that we've pushed for this and we have funded it, and we're still waiting.
Yeah, just get information for them, say, but, I mean, we lived this long without them, I just think it's gonna.
Yeah, and no, but the idea is, I mean, this was approved earlier.
Right.
It was approved technically in the summer of last year for this fiscal year. So, I am asking for that. I am asking for all solutions that are equitable and can at least meet the basic demand. And what can we do after to bring it on board once it's readily available for everyone?
That's like the commissioner pushing this harder than anybody.
And at the end of the day, it goes back to just the fact that it was an approved item and it's been like Helen said, we've been waiting for this info for a while. I'm trying to think if there was anything else on that. That was all I had for LPR. I mean, like I said, I've checked in multiple times and I was hoping for a better answer as well. What I can do is, I can just, at the next meeting, I'll make sure we have it readily available. That total price breakdown. He told me it should take him a few days to get that.
But you can do follow up. Next item, landscape update.
I didn't have these minutes until a few minutes ago, so if you guys could brief me, I would love to tell you what's going on with landscape. Was there rationale for this old business item? Was it because of the tree and I know the flowers in the back issue? Was that the original genesis of that?
I'll tell you, because I was the one that pushed it. I pushed it when we did the landscape change out originally, and I pushed it at this October meeting as well. And just to put you up to date, is I think you're just filling in. You're not gonna be our liaison guy forever.
I might go back to what I did with Christina and even when I bring somebody new, I will be here for the first set of meetings.
So the thing is we always had something to do with the landscape. There was always something to do. So we just said, let's just keep it on the old
Okay.
item, even if we just discuss it and say there's nothing new to report.
Okay,
But it was just a way, because when it wasn't on the agenda, it was like, hold on, it's not on the agenda, and you guys publish the agenda publicly. So we just kind of left
understood. It's a
There.
placeholder.
It's standing,
as a
it's standing.
placeholder. And so just as a placeholder at this October meeting, they had one of the ends, I'm gonna call it the west end,
Mhm.
they just put sod there and we had no input in that. And then we talked back and forth and we said, change them out. I have personal opinion that this last planting worked out. They bloomed, they bushed up, it looked pretty. I know there was a tree that fell.
Twice. Twice within 2 weeks or.
Yeah, so I don't,
And to that notion, I know I don't want to discuss it too heavily before we open the meeting, but, what we did on the second one was we braced it a little differently. And we opened the root zone a little bit more and then repacked it a little bit better.
okay.
But it just so happens that one of the braces gave way the second time after they replaced it. The second time they came by, the crew took time and reassessed the entire tree and not just put what they saw there.
I have a curious question. I don't know if you know the answer is, when we did all this, the town was using a different company. Now we're using Juniper.
Correct.
So, and I know that they said back then, Christina told us like the plants were under, like, there was like a warranty or a guarantee that they would hold, because that one of them in the front had fallen, and it looked, and then she's like, no, our tree person, arborist, there's new buds, it's gonna come back, and it did come back, by the way, it did come back. My question is that warranty with that other company, is Juniper like picking that up, or is the old people responsible? Are we out of warranty?
Juniper installed it.
Juniper actually installed it.
The vendor at the time, did not submit and was not responsive.
Okay.
So Juniper was the
installed
next in line at that time under that previous contract. So
it.
yes,
Okay.
their warranty for 1 year on arbor is still within.
Okay, that is good.
Yeah.
I was kind of wanting to see how it played into this whole thing.
And we took a look, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think just while we're on the tree, we did take a look at the roots, the root ball. We took a look at the actual cambium layer. There's no concerns with the tree's health right now. It was just a stability concern. So they did their best to restabilize it, use different support system. And like I said, they repacked the soil a little bit better to hold that root ball a little down.
You have anything?
Suzanne?
Suzanne, you were gonna say
Yeah,
something?
I noticed, and I don't know if anybody else has, but with this new planting that we had, the impatiens that they put, at the beginning, they're small
And they're bushy.
and they're bushy, but at the beginning, they're small. And they don't put mulch. And weeds come up. A lot of
Agreed.
weeds come up until they bloom, until they spread. It doesn't look finished to me to have new plantings without a little bit of mulch, which also combats the weeds and it makes it look finished. That's my opinion. I don't know if they ever do that or if they just didn't do that, or it's just a comment.
I have the same exact comment. And my opinion is, yes, even when they plant them from the get-go, it should look, we shouldn't have to wait a month for them to bloom
Yeah.
and push up to make
In
it
the
look like. a
meantime, the
finished product.
weeds are coming up.
And they're more prevalent than the flowers.
They're more prevalent and they go right in between the flowers. and
Is that
it's a mess.
something we can motion, or is that something that you can just take back to Juniper, or how does this whole?
I can take
how
a
does the
look.
mulch situation come into play?
Hello?
Excuse me, this is the section 1 meeting?
Yes,
Ah.
you have found the place.
Yes, yeah, let me sit in, I'm a new guest, I'm sorry.
Yes, no problem.
It's such a small area, but it would look so much better if we put a little mulch like they do on Main Street. They mulch around them.
What do we gotta do?
I'll take a look. No, I'll take a look. We don't typically mulch because it also does absorb some of the moisture. And it might take away from the plants growing, but I will take a look at our options and I'll come back to you with, if there is any price implications on that.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, we're talking throughout the entire planted area, not just the border of it.
Where the flowers are.
Yeah. But in between the flowers and everything while they're growing. Correct?
When you say, you're talking about where the red trees are and the little border one,
So
or just the two
No.
I'm
ends?
talking about just the ends. At
We're
the
talking
end.
about the
You
end.
want to entire end, want to mulch when they're initially planted as well.
So it looks like it, yeah. Since we're still on plants, and I know I've asked this question before, but I don't remember it, and I don't know if you have the answer, is, do you remember the schedule?
3-4 months, right?
I know, but what's the schedule? And the reason why I bring this up is, and I think I discussed it at the last meeting, was Thanksgiving. They had taken everything out and not replanted, so the holiday came and went, and then they replanted. And in my head is, not that, we only get company but during the holidays is normally when families get
Mhm.
together and you have company, and in my head I was like, it was the ugliest part of our, we spent all this money and so in my head is, how can we get on schedule so that we're not there
In the holiday.
during the holidays? I mean, I don't know
So
if you.
I do remember that in this last plant time, that's why we said that we had to replace, but there was a pretty bad washout and then we kind of
Yes.
restarted a little bit.
Yeah,
That's right.
This was before, this was two
change out to go.
change us to go because of that, then I don't
It
know
threw off,
who
it might have thrown off
put
the
sod.
entire.
Somebody put sod the next thing the time they did a change on, and I was like, that's not what we agreed on. So
So I'll take a look and
if you could
to
get
your,
the
to your,
schedule,
to your point exactly, the way we built the right of ways is based on the seasons. So our next one is spring, summer, which is April, May. That's what our next swap out would be. And right now, we are looking at Coleus. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Coleus, but I can send it to you. And we're just adjusting the color right now. And to that point of what we mentioned about finished looks is we need to get back in the stance where we were telling our vendors well in advance, which we're doing now, because we're 2 months out, so they can grow them already, and they're set aside for the town. And then what we end up doing is planting larger plants out of the gate. So that's something also we're working on getting back to.
okay.
So the coleus, have you decided on the color yet?
Right now, we're trying to keep it to, it's meant for spring, summer, so it should be spring, summer colors. The original recommendation came in and looked a little too fallish, so we're going back to changing the orange.
Right, I wasn't aware the town was actually the one picking the thing, which is. I thought we were kind of like blaming, they were arbitrarily putting whatever they wanted, so now I know if we don't like it,
No, and
that's
to,
not the town people.
to that point, if there is something you have in mind, right now, I can send you the recommended plants for this season that will do the best in the weather and the rain and the washouts and the sun. The main one is Coleus and Begonias right now, entering the spring and summer. The only issue that I saw with going with, and the reason why me and my green space superintendent went with Coleus is we just had the impatiens, which are small flower based. Begonias look very similar. The idea was to have a change in the look. So that's why we went with Coleus.
I think it's summer now even.
Oh, yeah, I was out in the sun today, so I can second that.
Right, appreciate it.
And I'm gonna go ahead and just check with the board if I believe we have something from public. Were you looking to make a public comment?
Oh.
Before you get into it, I just wanna,
We'll make a motion.
yeah, were you looking to make a public comment?
So, I'm actually looking to join the board because I'm the most recent Lake Glen Ellen, new board member, right? So I believe Boris, was the representative. So when I read and applied to the clerk's office, they said I had to attend a meeting. So I went online, and then there was a meeting tonight. I literally just left from work, would have been here much earlier. But I got sidetracked with work and then, hopefully with the board recommendation. My application, I submitted it, it's sitting on the clerk's desk somewhere, but I left a section for ordinance to send at least one meeting.
So you're meeting the requirement of then you
And
need.
that's correct, that's correct. And then hopefully I can bring my expertise to this board. And it sounds like are you a town employee?
Yes.
There you go. I was listening every day, I was like, wow, this is great. That's why I'm here right now. So,
So that, just
Mhm.
for, my order purposes, so we're gonna make a motion to open public comment. Okay.
I will second it.
Somebody, okay, I myself, so I made a motion, okay, to open public comment, and then we're gonna recognize, so we're gonna ask you your name.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then.
Any discussion on it, or take it straight to the vote?
Yeah, is, everybody in favor of opening public comment? Those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Okay, so we recognize our resident, and if you can give us your name.
my first name is Patsky, Patky. Changachik, and I'll spell that last
Yeah.
name. CHANG. KACHITH. And I live, if you like my address, I can tell
That's
you.
okay.
That's
You
okay.
just put it
Yeah.
down, just put it down.
And that's correct. I'm on the board of the Lake Glen Ellen board. And then, I'm just here to observe and attend a meeting, and then hopefully I'll be able to join the board.
Are you new to the area or are you?
No, I've been here, I've been here.
Oh.
You were born here.
I lost count.
Good one.
My children are born here, and I used to work this area before it became a town, so I'll tell you a little bit later. And then I'll tell you my profession, which I'm pretty sure you guys will be happy, and I'll be on your board.
Very good.
Because I
I
do work.
feel like he's teasing us.
I do work in government, like he does, more specifically.
Me too. There's nothing wrong with that.
You're a little worse.
more specific,
What is he?
law enforcement, currently in law enforcement as well, and then all that application is literally sitting on the clerk's desk. Please follow up on her.
I did the same thing. I came to the meeting on that day and say, there's nobody from mine, so it became.
Yes, yeah.
And, what's the name of the area?
Like,
You lived there for the 20 years or no? Or
Basically, that's correct. So, I lived there. I actually worked here. Mayor Slayton is my neighbor.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Right.
When you live there, that's what you want. Maybe I'll find in my.
Right. So, when I worked in law enforcement, right? So before the town became a town, we called this area.
Which is what, much better. I voted against making it a town, by the way, and I was on the MAC committee. I just want to
You
put
wanna
that out
back
there.
me? Okay, that's okay. I'm happy it became a town, I'm not gonna lie, because as a patrolman riding around here, this area, I realized that services were being basically, crime where work says wherever crime is, that's where the money follows, right? So as long as you kept the department, the police department, which is the contracted police department, and then have that inclusivity, right, and that direct voice to the town sitting in your meeting right now. I think overall it turned out to be a good thing, but what I realized was this is a great place to live. When I was a patrolman, I bought the first chance I got in the townhouse, and then I was able to, as my family grew, move over literally around the corner from Mayor Slayton.
Oh, nice. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
and welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. And I'm listening to everything that you said, and then I'm pretty sure whenever, they check off that I can come on the board, I can explain to my expertise. So in 27 years of law enforcement, I'm management now. I can give you top to bottom, whatever skill sets I can offer you from, real-time cameras, right? To videography, to security, I've done it all. That's just something I've grew over the years.
How about LPR?
Actually, I'm very familiar with the LPRs.
Our next challenge is you come right in.
So, I'm very, very familiar with LPRs. I'm a big fan of them from the beginning. So from the stationary ones to the non-stationary ones, or how they use it effectively, right? I can tell you the crime trends from 27 years ago. I can tell you exactly where the burglaries are coming from and which avenue. Because as a patrolman, and working midnights, right? Like literally, I call it undercover work with my lights off in the patrol car. I would have to chase those guys. So that's why I look forward to.
So how do we get him on this board like ASAP?
They just have to approve it.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
so
I'm
now that
kidding.
he has to meet the requirement of attending the application has to be completed and I'm sure it's completed and it's.
So I mailed it for
Entirely.
a requirement. I mailed it. I left so the instructions were to mail to the town clerk.
Correct.
Am I correct? So there's a section there where for ordinance, I need to attend one meeting today. And so once that goes, I'm gonna take your number and then I'm gonna send you my card. And then if you can follow up with the town clerk and find out where it's at, then
I'll send an email before we leave today.
thank you.
And once it gets off the clerk's desk, it then gets sent to the deputy town clerk she's the acting liaison to the council. It'll be then transferred to the one council member who is missing their appointee. And we'll go ahead and make that appointment.
On that note, if I forget.
Than't you, sir. And I will take
Not
one
sure
from
who
them.
the chair is, but-
Newly elected.
Part of anyone else's. Thank you. And I'll get more if it's a rent on cards.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And then he'll be appointed at the next town council meeting, which is currently set for March 14th. Be the next regular town council meeting.
Okay, so I'm gonna motion now to close public comments.
If you come to the meeting, they would say your name and you can stand up and say, it.
Oh, I have to go to the town meeting.
no, you don't have to.
You don't have to attend, but
Oh, okay.
if you want to show your face so
Just
that,
know that your name
Yeah,
will
the
be-
last time I attended the council meeting, I think it was Mike Peasy was on the stand and then.
Oh, that's been long.
How long did that?
How many motion to close public comment?
Anybody second?
Second,
second, Deputy President.
by Suzanne, thank you.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. And behind the
Actually,
hours.
Brent,
Next item, gate arms and repair service.
RFP. This is also another fun one. The RFP went out with no responsive bidders.
what?
So right now procurement has drafted essentially it's a rationale why there was no responsive bidders to all those that opened the document. So it goes out to a few different public purchase sites. They're huge distributed sites to major companies that do these services. So she will be emailing a request for why there was no response. Typically, this gives us insight. And we will see if there are responsive bidders that had just didn't have time. Responsive bidders that don't do that service, that they reopened it. It gives us a little more insight as to why we didn't get any responsive bidders.
This is the company that comes up with repairs.
Yep, correct. It's set with monthly guidelines and it's set establishing prices on certain services. So right now, it is a contract that was publicly bid, but it was awarded nationally. Sometimes when we try to do this independently, we can get local vendors at a cheaper price.
Oh,
And that's what our goal was, to establish a base level of service on top of the break fix that comes up emergency.
Yeah, and you remember, I was the one that started the conversation, because in my head, it's like every time we had a broken arm or something, it would be, yeah, forever. And in my head, it's like, what's it take to have a contract where they have to come out in 24 hours? Give us a price. And then let us motion and see if, because I know that what we do is all recommended, and the council is actually the one that says yes or no to what we even recommend. But the council, we have to put it in front of we gotta put it on their agenda for them to do it. So in my head is everybody's paying tax, right? The tax dollars of the NSD is for this was a big debate, right? About the LPRs, the yes or no, but it was to have the man person there and the gate arms, and here we are. The contract we have to repair these things is not good.
They're responsive. I haven't seen a huge delay. I know there was one incident where Christina, it was 4 days before something happened.
Jeremy, I'm sorry.
That's
During
what
the
I'm.
holiday, no.
I take your word. I take your word by all means. By all
There
means.
was one time that it went down today and they did fix it the next day, and I was like, yeah, and then right now we got, I don't know about today, but as of last night, we were 2 down,
Exit. and
3
enter.
down, exit. The middle one was already like that, and the last one already had a comb, it was all the way on the floor. So I don't know if it's somebody hit it, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about on the statistics is, I know we hear often about, why are they breaking? Is it for a mechanism? Like, did we get I'm gonna call it a tower. Did we get a tower that perhaps was not equipped to hold how many times it goes
That's
up
part
and down?
of the answer.
That's-
These are lift masters that are meant for communities that are meant for this. But your report on the SFM shows you the amount of vehicles logged. In a month, it
That is
was,
really disturbing, and the reason why is because we as a board, when they came to sell us, that this is the one that would replace the thing, and it had a new technology. I mean, I don't know if it's lack of us having that knowledge, but I would think they would recommend knowing that we have, whatever,
841 properties, which you double it for cars.
14,000 cars on a day, on the highest day we have this, and the lowest day we have that, and if this is only to hold 100 cars and we got 1,000, and we just wasted our money. When I say our money, it's everybody's money behind there. So I was always curious as to, are they not working? Is it because it gets hit? Somebody's hitting it?
There is a good amount of hits, a very good amount of hits. And I've seen it where it's just, people are trying to itch before it even gets up. They're meant not to go up super fast, because if they go up super fast, what's gonna end up happening is inertia. If they need to stop, that creates issues within the motor. So they're meant to go up slow on purpose, and I've seen them get hit on the way up, and I've seen them even get hit when somebody tries to tailgate on the way in.
So, on that same subject that you're saying, is there a report to say, okay, since our last meeting, we've had X amount of service calls, of the 10, 5 of them were hit and 5 of them were, do we have that data? And the reason I tell you this, not because I'm just curious, is
No, but it's gonna
because
tell us what-
if it's being hit, then obviously we need to take action to avoid the hit. So I know it was like, oh, if it's hit, the guard had the responsibility to report it and call the police. Like, we try to,
I had a feeling it was John.
so the whole idea was like, if it's because it's being hit, if 50% of the time it's being hit, then I say that's enough for us to, or for me at least, to take motion, some sort of action. And the only motion I thought of from way back then, but I was kind of like, no, that's impossible. But my head is, had we started that thing 4 years ago, we'd be so much closer now. And my whole thing is, if there's a way to put a speed bump, even those like plastic ones that you put in, where it's harder for someone to just do this than if you gotta do that. It kind of, and if you place it at the right place where you,
And calls, your calls.
and they was like, oh, it's a public road, you gotta go through the county and it's a pain in the butt. But in my head is, if we gotta do that, and if we would have started that 4 years ago, today we might already have the speed bumps. I know government's slow. So if that's one of the reasons, let's say if it's 50% of the reasons of why those arms are going down, I'm ready today to motion, what do we gotta do to take the steps to put speed bumps in front of all those gates? Because it's gonna help us. I mean, when I say us is, so this 50% of the time doesn't break. That's one. If the other 50%, and I don't know, I'm making up numbers, if the 50% is because just the box is not really equipped for this, then at that point, we have to look at what's it gonna take to replace the boxes to go there, or do we just continue going with it till they completely die? And the answer then is to get under contract with someone who, even though you pay a little bit more, that there's some sort of commitment that they come out in 24 hours to fix. So the most we should be down an arm is maybe 24 hours. So I know that everything, if you pay, you get it. But to me, it's a price point. But anyway, that's my comments on that. I'm willing to listen. I really am ready to motion if you have statistics to be able to give us.
I am totally in agreement with Ms. Costa. If we are going to require speed bumps, I'm gonna require speed bumps after, because after what I said when I started talking, that these people leave the gate as if they were in, I don't know, some racetrack. And I'm not kidding, it's one of the only things that made me, you're not upsetting me for some reason. But
You're proposing is, so I say the speed
Before
bump
and
before and after. I agree with you.
people need to slow down when that's an area to slow down, not to speed, and they do.
So, and I will tell you, it would help also my concern, and now that Mr. Gateman is here, thank you so much, Mr. Security Services. You'll be surprised, but I'll tell about you later. Is that, it also would help on those moments when the guard is not there. Because when the guard is on break or on thing, that arm goes up. And I'm telling you, it would help. It would even help the guard to take the picture, because
They know.
I know some guards that open the gate before the car's there, thinking they're helping, but it's really not helping because that. So in my head is, I think it helps the service that we really want, the security one that we've been fighting for so many years. We're also going to help us with the cost of repairs if there's a significant amount being held by hits there. You have
So
numbers?
to that, I don't. I did speak with the vendor today though, and I did request that. Moving forward, I can get those numbers directly from them based off tickets, which means based off my emails that go out requesting service and based off their text completing service. They stipulate what they come to the scene and what they see before they start repairs. I'm going to begin to request those for every meeting monthly, even if we don't meet that month, just so that I can report the next meeting. This month was this number. So he did confirm with me today that is possibility. That is something we can definitely track. And I will tell you that the majority of times, and I asked this question today, they are hits. When I asked the center lane, I put a ticket out for it last week. It was repaired. I have the picture of it being fixed. Then 2 days later it was hit and it's back down further lower now.
Okay, so that's enough for this. What would it take, and help me with the procedure? How do we move this conversation on to see what it takes to put speed bumps? And I agree with Maribel.
I will
If we're
come
gonna
back.
put the speed bumps, you put them before and after. Before is to avoid the hits, and after is just for safety so that they don't.
I will request a meeting directly with Public Works. And I will plainly tell them, and here's the rationale that I see.
Do you need a motion? That's my question.
No,
You
I
need a
mean,
motion to
it-
act in that way.
Yeah, I'm not expending any funds of yours, so it's more report and I will report back to you.
Is
And at
it,
the end of the day,
is it strictly front and behind the guardhouse, or can we consider Balgoan?
you can only consider the security services and all that is associated with it. So with the guardhouse being there, the guardhouse is part of your service. It is, it's
Okay.
part of your advisory level.
On that, I'm with you. On that is our future, hopefully, new board member in their community, they do have speed bumps. What did it take for them to get speed bumps?
Request through Public Works, they'll do a traffic study.
We definitely need them.
Okay, well. Does that require a motion? Because
Well, not
Balboa
from
is a
this-
racetrack.
But not from this board. It can be any resident. This board is only security services. And anything that is associated with the security service. That's why we can do landscaping, because it's that guardhouse.
So if one of us or all of us show up to the next board meeting and as public comments, or should we or can we communicate with council members and say, this is a concern, by going to us as a speed.
You can reach out to staff and see if they can address it, or if they even have any data, recent data from any traffic studies.
So an email from me to you?
You can send it to me and I'll forward it to Public Works.
Okay, I don't know who Public Works is.
That's
Like, who am I addressing it to?
to Omar Santos, it is the direct forward, but you can send it to me and I'll go and pass it on.
Okay. Is it more helpful if more than just me send you that email? Is that more, does it have more punch if it's like, hey, 4 people?
If I may add to this, because I've been through this already at my level, you're dealing with these speed bumps, right? If you send on behalf of the board, right, as a representative or a board member, that's gonna help him present to public works, because this is gonna lead to traffic engineering. That's why you're on the board, right?
Okay.
As a representative of the board of safety, just like if I sent one on behalf of the Lakeland and Association, they're gonna generate a ticket to service, at every level, either his level or the public works. To do a traffic study, it's gonna go to the traffic engineers, right? There's 3 lanes about going. It's gonna take a while. And then it's gonna require public comment, because you're gonna affect a certain amount of people. Before that, comes to fruition, right? So the process started is from you. And if you're on this particular board, it actually helps, at least on email paper, like I call it. As opposed to probably just a regular concerned citizen, because a lot of citizens email Public Works, hey, I want, the
Yeah.
speed bump thing is a lot. I'm letting you know, it's speed bumps and the traffic circle is always the main complaints to try. It seems like it seems to be the panacea to stop all traffic people running or speeding. But the progression of that, it really does take a long time. Traffic engineers have to look at this. The firemen have to look as well,
Mm.
because as the fire truck comes through,
Right.
it's the safe capacity for the firemen to go through that particular bump, and it's well. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
But so the board and to his extent, can motion. And can make a joint decision that's based off of. In your entity as the advisory board for the service, the special technical district for Mine Lake Section 1 is of the opinion that there should be a traffic study done and verifications. You can always do that.
Okay,
You can always make a motion. However, just keep in mind that the board's focal point is guardhouse and guard service.
yeah, but all of us here are all board members of our
100%.
own HOAs. So here, we don't just speak as Helen, I speak as the HOA of Lake Elizabeth and all of us. So I think that there's a lot of oomph behind it than just me alone reaching out as an individual homeowner of the town.
I think that I handle every homeowner like.
I got
would an HOA.
I got you, but you said something,
Big ones, and I'm in favor of speed bumps.
that's true too. So the question here is, our voice is about that gate area.
Mhm.
Now, I understood that the street is the county,
Public.
public. So even though we have whatever legal things that we have, the gate and the security and all that, is that something that we can take care of internally, or is that something that has to go to public, whatever, county to put speed bumps by the gate arms before and after?
We can do it.
I would like to confer with Public Works first.
Okay.
Because while it is something within your jurisdiction, just like the landscaping was, that is part, if there was no guardhouse, it would just be a road and it might not be
Okay.
ideal, so you
But
can
you're
say that it's
saying
part
if
of.
you can do that, you do not need a motion to get that information so that we
I'm
can.
gonna request it, at the end. And if you want, let's go ahead and we can recognize it as a board decision, just for public record reasons, but at the end of the day, if the consensus is there, I'm gonna go ahead and do the research. Because to that point, the goal is to stop repairs to these gate arms.
So it would be direction to the town to find out from Public Works what it would require for us to put speed bumps before and after the gate arm. That's my motion. Anybody want a second my motion?
Sorry.
You see, I knew you would, I don't know how to do. My motion
right?
is to give town direction to find out what is required of us or of them to put speed bumps prior, before on both sides of the arm. And the goal here is to, number one, slow down the speed, and number two is to avoid those arms being hit.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Yes.
One name,
You said no?
Yeah.
Okay.
you got it for her. I'll let her know when she gets back in.
Now, I want to make sure.
No, we have one name.
We have James as a no.
oh, you don't like.
Card in there. False.
However. Oh, okay, no, sure. I didn't hear, okay.
All right, next item up, holiday decor.
What do you got for me on this? I remember I was flying blind with
It
no
wasn't
name.
us, I think it was Christina.
Okay, and it was the intent, it's an old business, that's why, was the intent to see if you guys wanted to add some,
So I'm gonna tell you what I think of them, obviously I'm not Christina. We got the lights up and all that like shortly before, and then I think someone said, hey, can we do hot, but we didn't have a meeting. So I know that I emailed her, and I think someone else emailed her, and then she emailed back and said, oh, the town's already considering it. And the next thing we know is they put whatever they put, which is like a garland with a little light. I believe she probably put it here, or because the agenda, her input, she was still here. I remember I sent her some stuff. I think it was just to get our feedback as to what we thought. I think that's what I'm
I
guessing.
sent her some feedback. I wasn't very impressed with lighting arrangements.
And I'm with James. I appreciate that we got a garland with light, but it didn't show because since we have the lamps,
Yeah, it killed the.
it killed the garland. So the intention was great. I applaud it, but I think that we can do something a little bit.
We've learned from this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no, just, yeah.
What do we need to do so that we're not in November and we're trying to crunch to get a holiday decor up?
We have a plan of what it's gonna look like
That's what
that
I'm
we
saying.
would approve.
Is that something we can motion? How do we get information? I know it seems like far away, but this.
no, it doesn't, and especially if we're gonna discuss budget in the next meeting and.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll talk a little bit now, very briefly, but the next two meetings are gonna be budget heavy.
Let's go.
So I think. So my first question is, and I should know this, but I don't, is. Did you expend funds as a board for for that decor?
I hired a company.
Yes, we do.
Yes, 30 days.
Okay.
Contract for 30 days.
Okay, so I will revisit and ask for other options. And I put down a note to go through Christina's email, so I know you provided, James provided feedback, who else provided feedback to Christina via email?
I might have, but I can't guarantee. I know I provided feedback before it was up, like, hey, can we do that?
Okay,
Yeah, the issue was it was such small lighting that it was drowned by
the actual lighting.
and then the white light around the guardhouse could have been colored or something. You know, it just needed to be a stronger.
Yeah, a more festive decor, a more
Yeah.
festive display of decor.
Yeah.
It really
Bigger
didn't,
bulbs, maybe.
it didn't make much of a statement.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
That
But it was appreciated.
money.
It was appreciated. People were
Yeah.
thanking me.
Yeah.
for it.
That's all.
So what I am gonna tell you is I'll reach out to that vendor and I'll ask for options.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And that way we make sure we're in line for budget season to have that discussion as well.
Let me go.
Exactly.
So before we move on to new business, I'm gonna go, because he said the next few meetings are gonna be about budget. So we discussed, possibly an additional expenditure of mulch or something on the planting, which would be, you have a note of that, so that can be taken.
Okay, mulching and a finished look is what I put.
Yeah.
The other thing we talked about was, since you don't have any bidders on the arms and all that, how do you guys project that here? Like on expenses of repairs and all
We
that?
base it off previous years. So we budgeted at, if I'm not mistaken, it should be close to 6,500.
Okay. And then holiday decor, I guess, well, okay, all right. Those are the three things that we have. Okay, thank you, sorry.
We're going to now go to back to security guard. and weapons. Yes?
Oh, if you guys want a motion to bring in back John's item back up, or if you want to just wait and put it at the end. Because right now it's set to go after crime report, which actually, it's actually part of
It's part of
their
the
report. So I guess we'll let him speak then, so we'll continue through them.
Okay. All right, going to the new business, survey for 2023.
So, part of resolution that's adopted by council is there is a actual need for an annual right track, wrong track. We've done it in the past with the mail out, and I know we discussed a little bit about Helen does not want to force a mail out, but if we get to a mail out, we want to make sure that we leverage that for the transponder question as well. However, knowing that the survey last year didn't yield that many responses, 15 total, the majority coming the same month that we issued the mail out, and then a fall off, and then 2 responses in June. We would look to do the same, mail out. I can provide you with the survey questions, pending any change, which it sounds like there might be a change. Is there anything else on the survey that we don't already ask? And I'll read the survey out loud now. Is there anything that we want to add? And that's kind of what we're getting towards. Building the survey, when do we want to release the mail out? This month, next month? Before summer? That's really what kind of direction I want to know so that we can plan effectively, because 841 mail outs is a fun time in my department.
So what is the question?
So right now the survey is built with the same, it'll be done the same way through SurveyMonkey. We'll add it to the mail out as a URL. And we'll just capture responses through there. Now, my question is, I'll read you the questions really quickly.
Yeah.
Is there anything outside of, I believe we might have one amendment already to the survey.
What are the questions that are in there?
I'll tell you right now. And the main goal is just, is the board on the right track, wrong track? But let me make sure I don't miss any questions. Section 1. All right. All right. Overall rating for the past year. Okay, it goes, please complete the survey so that the advisory committee and the town council can gauge the effectiveness of the advisory committee. Please limit to the scope of responses to the guard gate matters only. That was one of the most important things, to make sure people were aware that it wasn't an open HOA survey. So overall rating for the past year from October 2021 to 22. And it's just below average, satisfactory, above average, excellent. Did you attend any NSD board meetings? Yes, no, I attended in person when I can, I watched virtually. If You have attended any NSD board meetings, how many? How do you prefer to be notified of meetings? Options are town website, Miami Laker, the A-frame sign, mail out fee, mail out fee associated, so that they're aware that every time if we want to go to strictly mail outs, it's gonna be hitting a budget line item. And then from an HOA member or neighbor. Do you want to keep or change the current guard gate company? Please provide feedback on services rendered in your district, good or bad, we want to hear it. So those are the 6 questions posed.
When was the last one sent out?
I don't know, results. What a summary. I can see when the collector was issued. The collector was created February 7th of 2022.
So a year ago.
And did we
And
ever,
it would have accounted for 21.
did we ever get the results of these 15 people?
Yeah, I have
We
them all
did.
here
Okay.
and a breakdown of when they all responded. Yeah,
Okay.
so-
Did it go-
yeah, the biggest thing was you had the most responses, 12 were in March. It was issued early February. And March is when we had the most, 12. And we had 1 more in April, 1 more in June. And I think we went over, I think in her October meeting, she probably went, or maybe even before that.
I do recall she went over, I don't remember when, but I know she went over the
We
results.
went over 6 or 7. I don't
It
even think
was
we had
very little.
15 by then.
Yeah.
Not much in.
So the survey is now a town mandate that it has to go out annually, and the last one went out in February, then I think that we should work on it so it goes out relatively soon, I think.
Yeah.
But if that's gonna happen, an old item that we already finished, which is the access cards, and I said, hey, when do we tell them?
Mhm.
Every owner was entitled to 2, it's been available since X amount of date. If you don't get yours by like, no, use it or lose it, you lose it, and when you go to apply, even if it's you sell your house and the new person, they're gonna have to pay for in other words, that kind of thing. I think if that's gonna be mailed out in the next month or so, it behooves us to take advantage of the stamp
Do we,
and add that in there.
and my only question is, how do you plan to pose the question? Do you think the board should put a firm date, or do you think this is a fair date that the board is? gonna
When
put
you
up?
said you put it as part of the survey?
Yeah,
I wasn't thinking of putting in a survey. You said there's a mail out that tells the link to go do the survey. In that mail out, we as a
understood,
section
understood,
one
understood.
can tell everybody, they're getting it, but we're gonna spend the money and the town's resources to put it in an envelope and things like that. In that one, whether on that same page, in the back of the page, because it's not that much info, is to
Mhm.
tell them the new transponders, every homeowner was entitled to 2. If you haven't picked yours up, you have until X date to do so. Kind of use it or lose it.
Why are we asking all the people who got one? Why, if we're gonna mail out individually, don't we know the ones who didn't get it? Just put that letter to them. I don't need a letter saying
Yeah.
about transponders, or I got it, or you got 600 people already got them, why are we saying that to them? They don't care, they got
Yeah,
their.
it's gonna be fun, it's
We'll
gonna be
work with
fun,
you guys.
it's gonna be fun administrative.
Oh, I didn't know.
We can separate it, we can separate the addresses, obviously, we print every single 841 addresses, so we can set aside. And at least the access card reader is set up in a way where it's all organized, so I can pull the
You-
400.
I understand what James is saying. I had no implication to give the town more work. My whole thing was, I don't want to use another mail out and use more resources
Yeah.
and a separate stamp just to mail that out, but it's gonna go out to all 841. I agree. I don't want to get the letter. I got my transponders. You know,
We will make it happen.
And to me, it shouldn't be whether we give a date, we should have a date and give it, saying,
okay,
hey.
so that is a motion. So I am gonna motion. Do I have to open up old business?
No,
No.
because we're
I
talking.
am gonna motion that, so I'm gonna propose, we don't know when it's gonna go out.
You tell me, I mean, it's gonna take us, let me sure. Update the survey. Create the link. I mean, it's gonna take us probably 2 weeks to then get through and, remember,
30 days from mail out. Something like that.
So if we're,
Probably.
if the motion is that we send out the mail out with the survey information, which contains information that we're gonna, part of my motion, on this access card, and those will go out on or before the end of March.
Mhm.
I would then propose that the notifications say they have another 30 days. They have till the end of April.
You
And if
just
not-
have to say, our records show you do not have not picked up your transponder. If it's not picked up by there, it's no longer will be available.
Administratively, we can set on the language, obviously, we'll make sure it's a nice tone,
Right.
I just need the date.
Say, if we're gonna mail this out, we could just say end of April. My motion would be end of April. So if you mail it out on March 15, it still says April, but if you mail it out on end of 30th, the end of March, they still have end of April. Now, if the survey gets delayed and doesn't get mailed out by on or before March 30th, then
We'll
I
have it
don't
done.
believe we should put it.
No, we'll have it done before then.
So that's my really long-winded
Yeah,
motion.
sounds good.
So the motion.
I think James is seconding.
James is seconding what you don't know what you said. That's good. So the motion is to, include language that sets a deadline for when transponders can be acquired.
It just, yeah.
And then they have to figure out the language.
Just let them know they haven't. Our records indicate, because maybe they got one there and we know.
The motion also is that the survey is to be mailed out by no later than the end of March.
You apply or fit this, whatever. Pick a wording.
They're about end of the survey of end of March, and that they have 30 days after. Or, I
No,
mean,
we said,
you
you
know.
said before April
April
30th.
30th.
For the, yeah, so that they will put the language and things like that.
Right.
And you'll come with it.
Right.
And on my end, I have to release it
March 30th.
before and or on the 30th of March.
So the announcement,
But I wouldn't not.
the
as
mail
a-
out is before the end of March,
Mhm.
and the deadline for the transponder is before the end of April.
Yeah, second, right.
James,
All in favor?
Any discussion? It's just to make sure that we're not adjusting the survey language. Okay, perfect.
Motion passed. Here we go. There we go, the elections, budget, 23-24 considerations.
Sounds like I have 3 items I need to report back with at the first real budget hearing of ours.
So far, so we thought, well, you
so far-
speed up the meeting, you end up with another one.
Yeah. No, we have to get going probably in the next 8 minutes.
but,
Is there anything else that,
well, we talked about, you said you're gonna get some information on the speed bumps, not only in the
courthouse?
guardhouse, but down Balgoin, if that requires a traffic study. But the reason why I'm gonna bring this up with budget considerations is what I think we're gonna hear about next is last year, I know we changed companies
Mhm.
for the security guard, and I was a proponent of saying, I don't know if it's a resolution, the resolution about why that all exists is to provide a man thing 24 hours.
Sentinel service, yeah.
Yes. And I was the one that's like, we do not have 24 hours. There's no way to have 24 hours. And then there was, we floated, I brought it up and then the town came back and said, okay, well, the only way to guarantee that we have a man thing 24 was to add another man, which then there was a little cart involved. And then we had different companies. And some of them were like, we'll do that. And they kind of like, they didn't really charge us the cart, they just charged us the second man and all that kind of stuff is. I would like that information to be considered.
Okay.
When we talk about budget.
Yeah, I'll bring up the contract and all those rates are established in the contract.
Okay.
So additional guard at the level 1 service, additional golf cart at that hourly service. So all that gets stipulated and, we can discuss it then.
Because my goal was not the additional cart.
Yeah,
My goal was
It's
to
24
have a
service.
man 24 hours.
yeah,
And I
alternating
heard
breaks.
that the only option of that, guaranteed, was we needed a second man. And at that point, we're not gonna have 2 men standing there. When I say 2 men, I meant man or woman. And we would have that second person, individual, roaming around doing that stuff. So in my head is I would still bring the conversation up, and I know we're talking about budgets.
I'll bring it back.
I want to go back to, what does it take? What, is there another option? Has anybody come up with another option? Of having a guaranteed 24-hour man, whether they went to the PP room or they went to eat or that kind of stuff.
John, off the top of my head, what I'm thinking of, and I don't know if this is part of your model, but, is there a way to schedule a roving captain on the break time? That way it's not adding a guard, but you're bringing in your road captain and or someone else just for the necessary time to have perfect coverage.
Yes, provided that we can find someone who's willing to work those specific slots. So when it comes to scheduling their lunch break, that is easier. Because you simply tell an officer, this is gonna be your lunch break, and we can schedule those 3 lunch breaks pretty, militarily, if you may. Scheduling bathroom breaks, that's, biology at work. So, it is challenging. So we could bring the cost down by having someone being there on the lunch breaks and trying to work something out, adding value by using some extra time to provide community patrols, which, by the way, is something that we're incorporating into our services because we're doing that anyway for the other town of Miami Lake community. So the short answer is, yeah, we can find a way around it. I think that 2 men, 24 hours a day is an overkill, but
And that's where I was kind of leaning towards it. I don't know if and I know it's the guarantee 100%, but I think there might be a happy medium that they may be able to provide. So I'll work with, if the board is okay with it, I'll work with John to see something that's equitable outside of just the contractual rates there. So.
yeah, I just don't like the word guarantee. I'm sorry about that.
I got it, but so what I see is the only way to guarantee it is to have 2 men. Because if you have 2 men, I don't think both of them.
Well, there's only one bathroom.
They can't go to the bathroom at the same time, they can't go to the lunch break at the same time, so in my head is, that's the only guarantee, and I say, I know guarantee. Right, I'm lucky we wake up every morning, but that's, life's no guarantee, but if you have two, then yes, there's always gonna be somebody there.
I want to bring up that something that perhaps just enlightens Jeremy in that conversation, but perhaps if this was a shared resource with other guardhouses, then one additional person could supply lunch breaks and bathroom breaks to all the guardhouses. And I realize that is challenging from an administrative perspective, and you're looking at me like you want to kill me.
No, I love creative ideas. I just,
But
it's gonna then take the agreements of other boards as well. But at the end of the day, it's a solution.
I'm trying to be creative, and I'm trying to provide alternatives that are short of having 2 people there and again, provide value.
But, and we'll discuss this, but I don't see the having 2 people not being of value. We have 841 homes, I don't know how many miles around there, so I always see the benefit of someone roaming around.
Oh, yeah.
I
guarantee
as long as
that.
they're not parked under a tree on their phone, like
Their first
the
of all,
Home
and
Depot
once they
security guy.
gets tracked, and if they're
Yeah.
sitting stagnant for a certain amount of time, they get alerted.
That's what I'm saying, is I always see that because it's a deterrent. It's a deterrent, and I've heard a lot of people's comment is we're not a completely gated community. Anybody can walk into the community straight from that little path from the gate, from the park. Anybody can jump the fence on Lake Ellen, on our end, anybody can access the community by foot. Therefore, a roaming guard is a roaming pair of eyes.
That's it.
So
Absolutely.
anyways, the discussion, because we're talking about money, so.
I'll bring back the option for the guard and the roving, and we'll
And
bring that
any
back.
alternatives that we can consider, like, hey, that's all ears, okay.
We'll talk it over a little more, and that way I have an idea what to prep is the Royal Oaks neighborhood, which is the other SFM covered security site.
Okay, thank you.
Crime report.
So on our end, I'm working with, and that goes hand in hand with break fix. I'm working with PD to put together a report that is specific, not by, so their breakdown is by, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, is by quadrants, so not just by neighborhoods. And actually what I found out today when I thought it was an easy pool, is sections of Royal Palm Estates gets pulled into Miami Lake Section 1, and a little bit south of you also gets pulled in. So I need to work to hone it, so it is only Section 1, but I want to work with PD to get you that crime report on a monthly basis.
I wouldn't be upset with seeing what happened above us and right next to us. Because to me, if it's happening a street over,
Okay,
that's as close to me as, that's too close to me. So I understand, I know that Christina was like, you don't have to say anything. I was the one that said, can we put the crime report? And I will tell you also, is I would like to have it as
ongoing.
an ongoing so that we can address whatever's there.
And part of that is also, some of their reporting. I don't know if you have any, I know we got the report for total vehicles logged.
Yes, and I apologize because I wasn't able to spend much time in my office today at all. But I'm gonna be sending you the analytic report because you received the one that details the number of incidents that we had in the month, and obviously that's the vehicles entering the facility, the site. But I'm gonna provide you tomorrow with the detailed one on the types of incidents that we
Correct,
have.
so that'll go through miscellaneous, that'll go through, road cabinet inspections, it'll go through maintenance, so they even tell us that there's an issue wrong with the guardhouse that's not related to security services.
Yes.
And then obviously if they have, I think there's a suspicious or, I know there's accident, and then isn't there one for suspicious or,
Sufficient people, yes.
yeah, that also
Yeah.
comes out as well, if there's a vehicle that is suspicious of any nature, it also gets noted there.
Okay, so crime report, we really don't have one, we're working on it. That leads us now to security, no? That's the next thing on the agenda?
That we skipped.
The last thing would be.
Oh, the security guard search, yeah, if there's any other updates on your behalf, I mean, I don't have much as far as updates or reports. I can tell you that, I believe the last thing was, we had issues with name plates not being out there, which we addressed, if I'm not mistaken, Helen.
Helen, don't hate me, it's really all with good intentions. So at the minutes from October 24 is, I remember that I brought up that, the last security guard company, which we weren't happy with, did have like a 24-hour number, out there, so anybody, us or anybody could see there and did it. It took a while, but they finally got it.
Mhm.
Thank you, appreciate it. And then we asked what's the procedure when there's something down, they said sometimes we put a cone, but sometimes they don't put a cone. So I see that now as well, I see the cone sometimes and not. But I did know, are you Mr. Frenthorpe?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you explained that perhaps us as a town, and I say that because we're gonna talk about money, next time. Placing, perhaps making a sign that actually tells visitors that they need to stop and their license plate is being recorded, like, because we were. When the gate is up or broken, and then we don't want the security guard to stand in the middle and get run over, and that's not what we was intending, but you know, it just seems like this happens when that happens. So I know we have a sign that says something, but I'm not sure the whole sign really says your license plate is being reported, and we talked about that in October, and I don't know if anybody did anything about it. Is that something we can talk about, get information, so we can talk about it on the budget thing?
I can bring you back if you want pricing on signage. The only thing I will also tell you is, I'm an aesthetics guy. At what point is a lot of signage maybe too much? But if it's something, 100%, if it's something you
It
want
might
to,
be replacing the current sign with
Okay.
a more specific sign. I
Okay.
don't want more and more signs, because then you don't see anything. There's just a bunch of signs,
Yeah.
but perhaps it's a swap out of the current sign with a little bit more detail to be able to cover that. I'm just going on, I'm not a security guard. That was his suggestion as to how do we get people to understand that.
right now it says stop, no tailgating of any nature, and damage imposed by the driver will be sought after, essentially.
I got you. So because he's here and I am always been the one, that seems like I'm the one that complains a lot, is, I'm gonna say this and hopefully I don't regret it. I see a huge, positive difference from the old security services to the current security services. So that's a compliment, at least from me. Is not quite perfect, but I see responsiveness. So I send something and I see a response back and I see a change. But my major complaint before was, and I don't go in and out all the time. So it's like, do they like have a camera on my house and then she's leaving? So let's put the guard up and let me disappear. And so I come in and out at odd hours. I don't have a set schedule. And I will tell you, I've only run into one time where the gate was up and the bathroom sign was there. But if I can ask for room for improvement is, and I know there was one specific guard that, I don't know, he doesn't like putting his name up. And he put his name up, and the next time I saw him, what he did was he had his name up and he left the other lady's name up. So really, I mean, you can tell by the name, but there is one thing that they do. There is a sign that says I'm out to the bathroom, and it's like a permanent sign there. They do not swap it out, like, it's just a permanent sign. I don't think that's being very useful, but I wanted to say is thank you, because I know that it's a lot of hard work. And I personally have noticed a huge difference. And so when something is different and it's a good thing, I think, I want to make sure you acknowledge that. I appreciate your efforts through whoever all your employees and all your people.
On behalf of all my team, I appreciate that, and obviously we take into consideration what you're mentioning, and we're gonna be correcting those issues that need to be addressed, and the fact that the bathroom signage is there permanently is not good, so I'm gonna make sure that that is addressed. Trust me, I'm gonna make an effort to make sure that happens. I also wanted to brief everyone and let you know that we have installed, obviously out of our own budget, a camera inside the guardhouse. And that allows us to remotely monitor the performance of our security officers. So we are monitoring the performance of those officers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, we don't have a person just watching that camera. We have multiple cameras installed at all our clients. So it's a lengthy process, but I received an hourly report from our security operations center indicating all the camera activity for all our clients. So that is something that I wanted to make you aware of. So we can determine the performance of our security officers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on that guardhouse. And again, the camera is inside. We don't want to have any cameras outside because that's not our jurisdiction, but that is something that we are enforcing and we're monitoring permanently.
That's appreciated. I had asked, and maybe it's timing, I had asked, I'd like to see what's that photo thing? What does it look like? Like, what kind of?
Oh, you want a sample report?
I can pull a report and it'll show you
Like, if
everything.
it's a one day or half a day or a morning, arbitrarily, I kind of want to see what it is. 'Cause the reason why I ask now, out of curiosity, kills the cat sometimes, is you've got some security guards that go, I'll tell you, really, I know his name, Mr. Dixon. I love him. He waits, takes a picture, then he puts up the art. Then there's another person named Luisa, which not so fond of. It's before you're even there, she's already opening the gate, so and there's no speed bump, so. And in my head is like,
Well,
how do they, I just want to know is what's the product that
No,
you
but you
get?
see, we have a procedure, and the procedure is what Mr. Dixon is doing. What Luisa is doing may try to be approached from a friendly perspective to the resident, because we have also residents that say, well, Luisa, now that you've seen me, like, the 10th time today, do you still need me to stop and say goodbye? Sometimes officers are acting that way.
I got you.
So what we want to tell Luisa is you want to do what Mr. Dixon is doing, which is let the vehicle stop,
Mhm.
wave goodbye, open the arm, take a picture. Now,
Let me transfer some information to you that you may not be aware of. What we were talking about. The residents, everybody who resides behind there has the option to get these transponders and use the second, the middle and the last lane, so they don't have to go and say hi to Luisa. They can, but they don't have to. So
If I
Luisa's
can,
saying, hey, I can do that.
just because we have a meeting next, I don't believe this is gonna come to an action item, so we can end the meeting. You can speak
No,
directly
I got
with John, yeah.
No.
Just so we get
I
in the
think you
time.
got the gist of what I'm saying.
No, and I can work with him just to close it out.
Those, I think, Luisa at the same time as speed the hell out of it. They just don't want to stop, they just don't want to stop, but yeah. So she's being nice, but what they do, those are the ones.
Yeah. Yes, and the individual resident, they have the option. to-
All in favor? Aye. Your turn.
You go to the middle one.
Grab me my card.
and you don't have to say hi to-
Yeah.
it happens the same in the other.
Anybody with the moment? Called me today, but I didn't get. Okay. All right, we call the meeting to order. 7:13. I'm gonna ask somebody to take the minutes or the secretary, please. Any volunteers? Okay.
I could do it along with you if you want, but I can't guarantee I'll get everything. I won't write you shorthand.
Well, for me to do it and then,
No, the chair and the secretary need to be two separate
yeah.
individuals.
Okay, I'll do it, but I have no paper. Every time. Everything. You go. Thank you, sir. Oh, this has to be on it. Here's
I
one.
take your notes, I take some notes too, so I can always, you know.
Let me get a couple more things. I can write it a little big. Yeah, I've heard people from North Miami Beach take good minutes. No, at all. At all. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And record it, that way you could go back to it too. Oh, wait, but. Record it. Go ahead, we'll do the best we can.
Take the vote first. And then do the other. All right. Will the acting secretary to call the roll, please?
Nancy Rogers,
Here,
Johnny Torres. Not here.
absent,
Omar Gonzalez,
absent for now.
Police Department Representative Officer Amador. Here. Luis Lopez. Here. George Pena here. Darvin Villafranco here. Brandon Diaz.
Excused.
Okay, and Fire Department Representative.
No. Order of business. Any deferrals?
There's a couple of act public comments, it's not on there. Right, but in order of business is where you would motion to add it to the agenda, because it's not an agenda item right now.
Okay, so public
Okay,
comment.
so three. Order of business deferrals and different deletions. 3A is going to be public comments added. And 3B is to, Sarah, you're gonna talk about public comments or 3D, where you talk.
It's just so if you want.
Public comments is him.
He should be a public comment.
Yeah, so he's 3A.
And you have the motion, second, and vote.
Right. And so make a motion to add Mario to public comments.
Yes, sir.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Pass. Close the door, tell Mario he's on.
I'll take you. Okay, hi.
Okay, Mario, you're up, please. And again, the committee.
Hi, Mario Pinera.
8825 Northwest, First Stairs, Finance.
What, I'm sorry, what was the last name?
Pinera, Pinera. So I've seen that couple of the
I'm
council,
sorry, the committee.
oh,
You're with?
neighborhood improvement. Committee.
That's it, thank you.
We noticed that there was an issue with the golf carts. The golf carts got accepted into the town, and then I was on town council that it's really not regulated or governed or anything like that. The town wanted to see how the golf carts get registered and all that. So I thought of a great idea. We do the NSC, the public, safety and, economic, we do the bike tour, the, culinary bike tour, right? Why not do one with golf carts? Police have said it wouldn't be an issue going from the west side to the east side, right? We could do, come some of the other plazas that we haven't done before. We can do some of the restaurants that just opened. That way we get a combination of both. It give us a great opportunity. You come out to the event, register your golf cart. We tell them, hey, this is what you need to do to get this golf cart up to date or whatever. Meantime, we register them all into the town and we have them all in the system. I think it's a win-win situation for everybody, for the town to register all the golf carts they have. We see who has one, who doesn't, what they need, what safety procedures you have to get on them. And we showcase all the restaurants that we can.
Well, the golf cart one. I agree. I mean, mine's registered already, but yeah.
I warned him.
So,
Is there the golf cart community, how many do you think there are right now?
community, I mean, what do you mean by that?
As far as how many golf carts you think we can get to something like this? More than 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you put it out there, maybe, definitely we're gonna need a, public announcement or something like that.
Yeah, obviously.
Or something like that, 'cause I'm thinking, push it.
Obviously, we want the economic development to try to help us out as well,
Right.
but I think it would be a great thing that we could all collaborate with.
But is the issue non-compliance? Is that what it is? Just people not registering them and still going out and about?
Well, the thing was, what they were mentioning was mostly kids that are riding the
I read
golf
about it
carts, yeah. But that's something that I don't know, I think they mix two things that are totally different. One is exactly what you just said, which is non-compliance, which is not a problem. And the other thing is a problem that happens regardless of if you are a golf cart community or not, is kids in golf carts that people have riding around underage and at 2 and 3 in the morning. That happens regardless of what you have set up.
You know who had a big issue with golf carts, and I think they're doing something now with movement violations with the city of Key Biscayne. They're gonna start enforcing some stuff, I don't know the particulars, but if somebody wants to reach out to the city of Key Biscayne, see how they're doing it, because they were having bad issues with kids taking golf carts and door riding and.
What are your parameters on that? I mean, do they have to have a license or just any kid could get on a golf cart? I mean, can we set boundaries within the town for that to occur, or is that even far-fetched?
The thing is, the whole thing is the decal that the town is providing now. They say that for the decal, in lieu of getting an actual tag from the DMV and all that, you get the decal, you have to have certain things. And those certain things are, you have to have a driver's license, so you have to be at least 16. The golf cart has to have seat belts and lights and the same thing as what the DMV requires. But the thing is the ticketing part is the problem with those, because the citations, because golf carts aren't supposed to be on the road. Unless they're street legal by the DMV, and then they're called low speed vehicles. So there's a lot back and forth, and I don't know what the right answer is for that.
I mean, it's a process, because mine was, and it's not that easy to get it. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's gotta meet it's gotta have windshield wiper, it's gotta have turning signals, it's gotta have seat belts. It's gotta have rear view mirrors. I mean, it's gotta have a horn, gotta have turning signals, all that stuff.
In order to be on the street.
Right, mine is street legal, mine is 100%, but that's, so I.
That's
think-
even on roads under 30 miles.
Right, yeah. Technically, I could, not that I'd be crazy to go to Hialeah and, road, but technically, yes, I could.
Yeah, it has a tag.
Right, it's got a tag. Mine is completely, I love the fact that, unfortunately, I was kind of, because it would have saved me a couple of $100. I said, well, yeah, it would have been nice if, but whatever, I wanted it, but again, I don't have the issue that, because even with the ones in the town, it's regulated. I believe there's a stipulation on the times that it can't be after certain hours and stuff like that. Unlike mine, I
Whatever you want, yeah.
right, because I have headlights,
But as a public safety committee, would it be a benefit to have all these golf carts registered and have them come in and say, hey, you need this, you need that.
Through the chair, I'll just remind you guys that this is a public comment. If you guys, if this is something the committee wants to further discuss and, motion to approve and all that, you do have to add it as an agenda item.
I just thought it might be a great idea. You guys can discuss it on your own, something that, it might benefit, both groups.
So what you're saying is a venue, obviously, where we could basically make it easier for people to come out and.
I noticed one time they tried to do, the golf cart committee tried to do like a light one with a whole bunch of lights and, for the Christmas time, and I think it was stopped. They didn't let it do it. I know there are not a lot of golf carts on the bike tours, on the bike,
Trails.
the bike trails we do. So there's obviously a separation. So I was thinking this is something that we want to embrace, mobility and things like that. So.
No, I mean, I love it, man.
So
So you guys discuss it among yourselves and.
what I would like to see us do is put this as an agenda item for another meeting, next meeting, one or after, whatever. In the meantime, we would think about voting to do some kind of a thing with the other two committees. yours and the other.
Collaboration with the NIC and.
In that we make it an informational type thing, because I think Darwin has done a good job getting his vehicle street ready and street legal
We've had it.
and whatever. By the same token, if I want one, I wouldn't know all of what I had to do. If anything, have an informational type forum. If you're thinking about, this is all of what we would.
I mean, the literature, I think,
Why
help
would
you guys.
you do-
No, I mean, the possibility there is, because you can get a vendor to be there to kind of provide that stuff as well, sponsors all this, but.
But I think more
It's a start.
information has to be.
Yeah, I didn't know you needed all those things. I thought as long as it was 30 miles under the speed limit, you didn't need. Yeah. To be honest.
To make it street legal.
Yeah.
See, you didn't even.
See, I didn't know.
Now,
It's
if
like
you
a
went
car.
out and
It's a little
got
car.
one-
It's a little car. It has everything that a regular car. Brake light.
Again, I didn't, like I said, if I got one and I wanted to go from my mom's house to my house, which is 3 miles away, I didn't think I would need all those things, but if you say I have to, if I'm on the street, it needs to be, street legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you go out and buy one and then you can't afford to do all that other stuff or whatever. Now you've got this toy that you can't even ride on the street. So I think if anything,
Informational
some
is-
type of an informational thing with other committees and go from there.
You guys let me know.
But I think it should be done before we start having all this stuff running around the streets and
I don't know if you guys have thought about this too. It's not just gonna be the town. You're gonna have PSN, you're gonna have other people wanting to join in. And then it's, hey, listen, you can't just come in, the people in the town know that they gotta have a sticker or it has to be street legal through the DMV.
At
And
the end of the day, if you're not enforced by a certain a date, ticketing comes out to law enforcement, hey, you're on the street and it's not street legal.
and then they learn that way.
So is PSN allowed to register with the town if they don't live in the town?
no, only town residents that live in the town, right?
So then PSN can't
Pick up
partake.
the boundary.
So PSN will be-
Unless they have, and that's the thing, unless they're street legal. Yeah.
All right, I need a motion.
You could be street, right, you could be street legal, then you don't have
You
to
wouldn't have to
register with
open
the
the
town.
order of business.
Yeah, they don't have to register, yeah. The thing, I think mostly what the town wanted was in lieu of having to become
Right.
street legal through the DMV, just get,
Yes.
become street legal through the town.
Right, because it's only the town.
And you're controlling the situation.
Yeah. No, I'm all for that.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
got to practice.
Be safe. Okay,
So do we
Order-
have to do a motion? to
order
deny?
of business deferrals. and different- I need a motion to add that item to our agenda. And
For a
second.
future agenda.
But we need to make a motion to have it put on an agenda for future meeting.
Well, okay, sorry to interrupt.
That's
If
okay,
you guys
please.
want it in a future agenda, you guys just need to add it on the agenda next
Okay.
time. This order of business is for agenda items that are taking place today. For this agenda.
So you just
So-
add it on.
Add it on for another meeting,
We don't have to do a motion.
okay. Pardon me, I'm trying to write too. Add to another meeting agenda. Okay, all right, so now we are going to do adoption of minutes. Yes,
Yes.
we're there. So everybody had a chance to read the minutes. Motion to adopt.
Second motion.
So Nancy and
While we're on minutes, a reminder that we still have December minutes outstanding for public safety.
yeah, because I think there was an issue of people were marked absent when they were here or something like that.
Yeah,
Is that me or I thought I had January? No, December?
no, for the January ones are the ones that are attached.
I believe I was marked absent and I was here, and I don't know who else might have been marked absent when they were here.
Yeah, there
I
were,
have you was here for January,
no, the
December.
minutes
No,
that
she's saying on
came
December.
Yeah.
December. Those are not part of your.
No, but this is what for it, I thought right here. All right, so. All right, we need to add that item then to this
No.
agenda.
We need the
To-
minutes to be added to the agenda. We need the revised minutes.
December, yeah.
But we don't have them, so there's no adding it to this agenda.
So you have to do it to the next one.
Okay. Another item,
It doesn't have to be another item, it would just be part of when you
I'm
revise
talking about
minutes.
the golf carts.
And
Golf
I don't
carts.
have to use any of that here because
That's
that's what's gonna be added.
So we want to add to the February agenda to correct
March
the
agenda.
December,
March.
the March agenda, to correct the December
Attendance.
attendance.
Minutes.
Sorry, you don't have to do that because you have adoption of minutes is always an agenda item. So you guys will just adopt minutes in that meeting. You don't have to do any additions to that.
I'm going to take the note to remember to do it in that meeting.
But you guys don't revise the minutes at the meeting. They just need to be resubmitted, the December ones. By the secretary that took minutes. So you don't have to do anything to your agenda. I'm just trying to avoid you getting confused by, something that you
Don't
don't
worry,
have
I'll
to
be
do.
asking you again.
Which was the attendance, right?
I'm not sure.
I think that was the issue. I know I was marked absent, I believe, and somebody else, there was an attendance issue.
If I had them with me, and I'm not gonna take the time looking now, but anyway, I thought I don't know, I'm not gonna say what I thought. All right, so the December minutes need to be resubmitted by the secretary during the March meeting, correct? March meeting, okay. Are we at special presentations?
Yes, that's what we are now.
Okay, all right, special presentation. Officer, on the board, please.
All right, good evening, everyone. Again, I'm gonna go over the year-to-date crime statistics from last year and this year. So year-to-date, we're at 0 homicides. We had 0, we're at 2 for robberies. We had 10, we're at 16 for auto thefts. We had 0, we have 1 burglary commercial. We had 2, we're down to 1 for burglary residential. And for aggravated batteries, we have 4 and we're down to 1.
Happy February, heart, love, peace and happiness
Peace and
month.
happiness.
So we have to,
Residential, we had 2 last year, we only had 1 this year. I think it's the last one.
I need a copy of that.
We're at the end of February. We're at the very end of February, we only had 1.
only one this week.
Thank you. Okay, let's,
Nancy,
fire,
let me take a picture. Me gusta verla.
All right, fire department report, none. Okay. We did public comments, now liaison comments, please. Any? None?
Yeah.
Thank you. Old business, budget update. What is our current budget amount, please?
I don't have that readily available. I'd have to look that up for you guys. If you guys want, I can send that to you.
Yeah, I'll let you do that for me when I do the minutes. I'll put that in then, okay, so just, send me.
As a reminder, all of you have access to the budget at any given moment, not just for public safety, for anything town related. I've shared the link with all of you guys in case, at any given moment you want to look at it, you don't have to wait on me. But I could send you just yours through email.
Yeah, I did go to that website and that link that you had sent me. And I could only look it up on my phone because I finally took my computer to the guy that works on them and my new one and all this junk. There must be 500 wires, and now that I've got everything back, I don't know how to put it together. I only just picked it up 2 days ago, so I will go back to the store and put it together, figure out a way to get it in and out of my car. And we'll get this thing done, and I'm gonna buy myself a laptop. So that's good news. This is enough already making you guys go crazy. So, I'll send, I think you kind of gave me the amount, but I figured maybe that might have changed. So I didn't make a big deal.
Okay, so here, I was able to pull up something. And I will share with all of you, you have this, but I'll share with the rest of the committee. To date, public safety only shows one expense for the current fiscal year, which is the PSA video production for a total of $675.
It's $175.
$75. That was charged to your budget line item, educational materials. So there was not enough money in that line item. So you guys are at a deficit of $75. You guys have to reallocate funds from other line items into that one to come up with the deficit.
Okay, I thought if I go back in my notes and find them, I thought we did all that math to make sure we made up for the full amount. So there might be a discrepancy somewhere, either in the notes I took or the math, because if Brandon were here, he would better remember because he handled all that part.
I remember,
And we
I remember
moved
talking
money.
about that.
We
Yeah,
moved
but I don't
three
think we- I
different
don't-
things.
I
We
don't
moved
think we
three
got
things.
around to actually doing it. 'Cause
I don't know if we did a motion to move the money though.
We moved the money to pay for that PSA. We had enough money for it, and it left us with not enough money, which I will get to, for the breakfast. I find my notes. I don't always depend on.
You
my
guys have
notes.
enough money as an entire committee to cover that. What you
We
don't
do.
have is in that current line item, so you have to bring that up to date. So one of your line items is at a deficit, the other ones you have dollars, so you will just take it from one line item and move it to the other.
And that can be discussed, put it as an item. for
You
next-
guys can do that right now if you want to add it as an item, but you guys will have to rebalance. And, it is staff suggestion to rebalance that before you start spending on any of the different things, because then you're misguided on how much dollars you actually have left.
Well, right now, I don't think we're gonna be spending any money at all between now and next month.
So you want to look
So
at
I
through your
would
notes?
prefer to look at my notes, check with Brandon. We sat here and voted, we moved three different amounts of money, I think, and we moved it all around. I just didn't bring all that, it's probably in here, but I'm not gonna make you guys wait while I look.
So your January amendments don't reflect any movement of money.
The January minutes
And
are very,
and
Great.
your December minutes, although there is a draft, they don't show that either. So if that's not the case,
I think.
Because I need
think
minutes.
I know, and the minutes that you got for last month are very minimal. That's why I take notes.
well,
And remember, we had to fight to move all the money to make it so.
you
they
guys
could
have two
be
options
okay.
here. You guys have two options here.
On the table it?
Either you guys really need to look at this as soon as possible, but that's fine. But again, two options here. And you guys are saying that it's part of previous agenda, previous meetings. If that's the case, it needs to be shown on minutes. If it's not, if the motion is not clear on minutes, and we can't just make that over, like it had to have happened. I
got
need
two
that to
ways to
take it to
go.
the budget office so that they can do that reallocation, because
We got-
without minutes and those motions, I cannot just.
No, I-
Objection, why don't you wait for us to have a full quorum?
Yeah, and look at
No,
your
hold
numbers.
on, hold on. We got two ways to confirm what we all seem to think happened. A, it's not in the minutes because I looked at the minutes. I didn't type the minutes, but it's not there. That got missed. I think I know a full reason why, and I'm not mentioning it. But it didn't become part of the minutes. Number two.
Which minutes,
we
sorry,
January.
January?
January.
Okay.
We can go back and listen to the meeting, because that's what I had to do some of this agenda. I wasn't listening for that, so I didn't hear it, but it's gotta be on the meeting recording.
So here's the thing, what you're saying is that these minutes are not reflecting the meeting. If that's the case, then the committee shouldn't have approved these minutes. So it's either one or the other.
Well, we hadn't, yeah, I agree, and I looked at the minutes, I feel like there should be more in them, and I thought, well, I wasn't going to. And again, I'd rather leave it the way it is for now until we can confirm.
Yeah.
That I know we voted to.
I know we
move
spoke
that
about it.
money,
I know we spoke about it for
maybe
sure.
we didn't have a vote.
That could be the case. But look at your notes and we'll talk about it next meeting when Brandon's here and you look at your notes.
Yeah, I think it's best to
And-
when we have a full.
This is technically considered a quorum. You guys wouldn't be able to do any motions or votes if you didn't have. a
Yeah,
quorum.
why are we not a quorum?
You are a quorum.
Huh.
You just don't have everybody, but you are a quorum.
But let's go, wait till Brandon's here, because that'll be another memory
We're gonna
to,
table.
and look at your notes. And between Brandon and your notes, we should know more or less what happened.
All right, so I need a motion, put it in words for me, that we're going to table. Somebody make a motion and verbalize it for me so I can write it.
All right,
Which, go ahead. Let me listen.
I motion to move the said budget items to next month's meeting.
And this goes under what now?
This is under budget.
Liaison and comments?
No, this is your budget update.
Yeah, but this.
So the budget
okay,
update for
update,
me,
seven,
the
7A.
budget update for me is you guys are at a deficit. Under line item educational materials.
Okay, so 7A is the motion by Darwin.
All right, Darwin. We're gonna table the budget
Budget items.
item.
Did you second it, Nancy? Are you gonna second
No,
it?
he kind of didn't finish yet, and I didn't finish writing yet.
And I'm just starting to write.
Okay, so let me repeat or Darwin, do me a favor, repeat your motion, please.
I motion to move said budget items to next month's public safety committee meeting.
Okay. And that is budget item 7A,
Yes,
Correct.
okay, 7A. All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
And just a comment for Nancy. This summary of of the deficit, for example, is the same thing we discussed at that meeting with the budget officer, so. We were on the same page when we spoke about it at that meeting. I'm not sure why now. There seems to be a doubt as to why you guys are this.
Because that meeting took place after we had our meeting
Exactly.
where we moved the items around. Because remember, we had education material, there was 3 things. that we move the money around from doing in order to cover that deficit. We still have a little bit of money left, is my understanding, but that was the exact amount that I was asking for now, so that it would be clear. All of that maneuvering that we did, what is our budget now that we moved it? And we don't really owe anybody any money, but you're saying that we have a deficit somewhere.
So
that's what we need to
officially,
confirm.
again, I know you're saying you moved money, officially, you guys have not moved any funds. You
What,
have not,
what line item is the deficit in again, so I can remember?
educational materials. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Is
resend
that
you.
the item where the PSA was paid for?
Correct, that's the only reason you have it, that's the only charge there's been to public safety this fiscal year.
675, wasn't it?
Correct.
And that 675 has a that's the one with the deficit.
But the deficit is not 675, the deficit is $75.
Of $75.
Which, this is the same email I sent to you, I'm just gonna resend it to you, because it's all noted.
But we do have enough money in the budget to move that missing 75 to make it fixed.
Correct.
The only thing is we would feel more comfortable
Having a little bit more
Checking.
information.
for sure.
And we
And
have,
that I would agree with that.
and
Okay,
we have enough money for the breakfast as it is also. We just need to cover those $75 from somewhere. So we're good.
and we've got it.
We're good.
Okay, so we had a motion, we had a second,
Bam.
and we had a vote. We all vote?
Aye.
Aye,
Everyone agrees? Aye.
okay, motion passed. George, we're gonna be on the phone. Helping one another, okay. Anything else? Takes me a little longer because I'm doing the minutes here, so you bear with me, guys. Table for further info ready, Dennis. Okay. All right, PSC capset update.
Oh, wait, hold on. 7A1, outstanding accounts payable. Anything on that?
Well, according to,
Or all this
Everything
is
should have
related?
been-
I
Yeah.
thought everything was paid with the exception of the $75.
No, he's asking because it looked like two different ones, but yeah, it's all in. the
It's all part of
78.
it. Okay.
All right, so we're on 7B. Caps update. Okay, we had decided not to go with that vendor that was never answering my phone calls anymore. I did have my concerns with them. I kept making sure I'm staying in touch with them. Now they don't even call me back. So they might have gone out of business and it's a shame. So we had mentioned, you possibly, and if you haven't had a chance.
No,
it's
I have
big
an
deal.
update for you guys.
Well, it's, you know what it's, my feeling is with the caps. It's nice to have them, but they're not a gotta do right now. And once again, I hate to say it, if you have an amount based on all the information you needed that we wanted the ones with the holes that you
Clip on.
just pop them on and not the Velcro and all that other stuff and whatever we were asking for. If you have it, fine. If you don't, that's fine right now too, because I would, whatever we come up with, I would table it till we find out what the other thing is with this $75 thing with the budget. So, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel that way too?
Well, we're gonna cover the $75 no matter what. The thing is,
Yeah, you
We
have to,
should-
you guys have to cover it.
Well, yeah, but the thing too is the fact that I still don't know what our final amount is.
but she could tell us the quote and we can have it in the back of our minds, because at the end of the
Do
year,
you have
remember, we don't want
quotes?
to, we don't
I
have
have a
money,
quote.
Oh.
we don't want to have money left over at the end of the year and lose it.
Covering them.
So the quote for 7. So I requested for 7, and up it if needed. But for snapbacks, which I believe that's what the clasp in the back is, it's $157 for 7.
Even?
I don't think that's bad at all.
No.
Yeah.
And that's with the logo in the front.
The logo that's on the arm
The
or
public safety.
public
logo.
safety?
Yeah.
This one,
No.
or
the
this,
public
this
safety.
one.
this,
Yeah, that
the emblem, okay, got it.
Yeah, because we don't want to leave any money left over like we did last
Heck
year.
no, because it's a real big deal as to what. All right. I don't know if now's a good time. Let me see where else I can put it in. No, I'm gonna put it in here. The reason why we don't want, again, we're still talking about the budget and whatever, but.
We're not talking about the budget. We're talking about the.
No, we're
council.
talking about the cats. But the reason why, I'm gonna dovetail this so it can be said under the cats. If we had money left over, the only thing that becomes carryover is money that's been given to us by sponsors, and we have no sponsors. So any money that we would have left over at the end of the year, we lose. No crying, no tears, no nothing, honey.
So we have an idea of how much the caps are. So when it gets later on in the year, I mean, this price might go up as time goes.
No,
by.
we're gonna do those, like, hopefully next month, when we know exactly how much money we've got, we're gonna check on that other thing that is confusing to us right now, but that's another reason why I don't know, what have we got? Let's get these caps, we've been talking about it for 1.5 seasons, years, whatever. So I haven't forgotten them, and I like that quote.
As a reminder, since you guys are saying you're putting it off for later, reminder that if you guys do want to do that, that is, you guys don't have yeah, exactly. No, well, yes, but not only that, you guys have to go to council because none of your budget has ever been allocated for caps. So you have to request approval from council. And I'm only bringing that up because that's, that would delay you like a month or 2, depending on where your meeting falls. So if you do plan on doing it this year, just keep in mind that you have to go to council.
We can't slip it under another category.
That's not what your budget line items have been.
All right, so next meeting, all right, my understanding is next meeting, we straighten out how much money we've got left over. And we make this a line item and we go before council and go from there. Now, is there any way of voting in advance now that as soon as I can at least see what once I determine through the recording, okay, whether that money was moved or not, because that seems to be the question, correct? Is finding out what our balance is. And if it covers that $157, and we have a motion now that once I see there's at least $157 in this present budget, that we order these caps and go before council and say, I've got this much money, it'll cover the $157 for the caps. I need your approval, guys.
No, that
Can't
motion
do it
is,
that way.
that motion is,
Too convoluted.
Yeah. What you guys have to do is approve the quote, agree to move forward with it, and that's what you're taking to council. Hey, we want to move forward with
Yeah, you
this,
can't order the
requesting
before.
this budget line.
I'm sorry?
You can't order the caps before. You
No,
got,
I wouldn't,
Oh,
no, I
okay.
wouldn't order them, but I would get the vote that as soon as we determine how much money we've got, right? You can tell me how much money. we've
I can
got
tell all of you how much money you
before the
guys
next
have.
meeting. Okay, yeah,
But this is, again, this is the same as the email that I sent you a few weeks ago. Your dollars have not changed. You have a budget available of 4,125. What I am gonna send to you guys is a broken down line item of what you have in each line item. So that you can figure out where you wanna move the money for.
all right, so we do have to have at least another
Yeah.
meeting. All right, so we can do that.
we
Because
can
we've got
discuss
something
it.
else coming up budget wise that we need to get to here. And we'll also know Because right now, it's $4,000 something that you're saying we've got in there.
That's a
Right.
total,
Wow.
a total of all line
What
items.
we've got right now, okay, and what we're gonna have to pay for, our ticket, our big ticket item is gonna be that breakfast.
We have to subtract $75 from that.
No, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
That
You guys
includes-
have an available budget of $4,125, and that is with the $675 being charged to your
Okay,
account.
perfect.
It just leaves the line item that it came out of at a deficit,
So
which
we'll-
means you just have to move
just have
from
to
wherever
move.
you do have a positive.
All right, now, of that amount that she just gave, okay, we have an item on our agenda that we're gonna talk about that's gonna take care of some, or take some of that money that we need to get to. And I have a plan that we can do both items when we talk about that, okay? I'm all over the place here. All right, the caps update,
157,
I'm sorry,
157
one
for the 7 counts.
Yeah, 7 caps. Okay. 7C, First Responder Cancer Awareness Event. That was on January 25th, in council chambers. Some of us couldn't make it, some of us did make it. I thought it was very interesting. We were lucky. There was, I don't know exactly who, but I'm pretty sure I know who arranged it. It was one of our council people, and she arranged for the refreshments that we had. It didn't come out of our budget because, you know, we weren't sure what we had and what we were gonna do with that. But anyway, it was a great event. I don't know if I think you were there, weren't you? You didn't go? I thought you went and we took pictures
in town hall.
in the council.
Yeah, he was here. He was
And
here.
you and I.
And Brandon was there.
Yeah, I remember, I think they teach you to.
Exactly, exactly. Okay. So it was a very nice, informative, successful
No,
event.
yeah,
A lot more
wonderful.
people expected than what we thought. Okay, so just covering that. New business, awards breakfast status. I ended up thinking that I was gonna have to find a different venue other than Shula's, because we got a quote from Shula's for 100 people.
Nancy, I just want to bring something to your attention.
Sure.
The last thing you spoke about the cancer awareness was 7C, the new business should be 8. And then announcements should be 9, and adjournment should be 10.
Hold on a minute. 7C,
And then it jumps back to 6 under new business, that should be 8.
why did that happen?
And then announcements should be 9.
All right, we have to, you're making a motion to adjust correct. the
Do I have to make a
agenda,
motion?
To correct the agenda, right?
Do I have to make a
Yeah,
motion?
You guys would have to reopen order of business.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, motion,
Okay, hold on. That's 3 again.
So
sorry, all right, so we need a motion.
I motion to correct the,
No, you gotta open, what is it, new business?
Order of
Number
business.
3
Order
order
of
of
business.
business.
motion to open. Number 3, order of business.
Darwin. This is why I gotta get it. Darwin, in a second.
I'll second.
March. Okay, and we have to correct the
Correct
agenda,
The agenda.
correct the agenda. And that correction is to make, what was it that?
Correction,
Business.
the numbering of the agenda.
6-7, to make, correct,
Numbering.
new business. Make it number 8, right?
Correct.
And then
Oh.
announcements would be 9.
Correct.
We gotta be,
Announcements.
we gotta be that specific, or can we just say correct
Well,
the
you don't
numbering?
have to
Correct
The
the,
numbering, yeah, the numbering on the meeting agenda.
yeah.
All right, however you want to word it,
Okay,
correct the agenda numbering. Hey, well, we're getting through here. We have more mistakes and yet we're going faster than ever. I hope. All right. Back to the breakfast, yes,
Business.
all right, 8A. Okay? Once we pay all of our bills and whatever, I had gotten a quote from Shoeless. Still call it Shoeless, Wine Related Wholesale. That is this one here first. No, I wasn't supposed to take notes. All right, anyway, I have. Well, he didn't give me enough, but just for now, share, okay?
Through the chair, you have to make a motion to add attachments to the agenda. That wasn't what was publicly noticed.
Awards breakfast status, Shoeless venue quote, isn't that enough? 8?
No,
one.
but the attachments. Again,
Okay.
everything is a public record, so the
Okay.
attachments,
So, so just put attachment on 8A1,
you guys have
correct?
to make a motion to attach
Yeah, but
documents to the agenda.
Do we have to attach or can she just tell us about it?
She can just tell you about it, because that's on the agenda, but she wants to share the quote with all of you.
Well, you
She
can-
wants you guys to get a copy.
Okay, you can share
you
verbally.
do it that way or verbally.
Just say, just say.
Verbally, when I leave on the table with garbage later on, I don't care what happens. All right, anyway, the original quote. We're gonna call it number 1 for 100 people at Shoeless is a total of $4,278. We don't even have that much in our budget.
Can you repeat that again? 4,000?
100 people at Shula's,
Mhm.
$4,278. That includes a plated breakfast for 100 people at $23 per person. It includes a microphone, speaker, and the podium. It also includes rental of the room and the servers. That's what all of these quotes include, $4,278 for 100 people. All of a sudden, I had a brainstorm the other day. I was taking notes and I said, wait a minute, why do we have to have 100 people? We can't afford 100 people, but maybe we can afford less. So today I picked up 2 more quotes. One for 100. And then there should be one for 75 people. Want to write down the amount, $3,286.
Same venue?
Same venue, $23 a person, microphone, podium and speaker. $3,286 and for the rental of the room. Okay, he's given us a lot of breaks here.
I don't think there were 100 people last time.
I don't have any idea and I tried to find out and couldn't. So anyway, that's 75 plated breakfast.
And yeah, like 50 last time.
75,
50 or 60,
yeah,
something like
75
that.
would be a good number just in case.
And I also got 50 people plated breakfast. If you, in a minute, I'll tell you all of what plated breakfast means if you need to know. All right, microphone, podium, and speaker again. And the thing with 50 people, we don't have to get the Grand Slam ballroom. With 50 people, they put us upstairs, upstairs. And there's 2 different rooms, the Davis room or the King's room. I haven't seen them. I don't know what they look like. But if we only did 50 people, keep in mind, we've got police and fire. So let's say that's 25 and 25. We all know more than 25 show. It depends on the shifts. I don't think, my opinion, I don't know if the 50 is good. I would go with the 75. My opinion, we vote, or you can think about it. But the 50, just to give you the amount, is he reduced it and gave it to me because of the 2 rooms being smaller, $2,200
Yeah, you're gonna be
for
up,
50 people.
you're gonna be up against it with 50.
I don't think that works. I think the one I'm running is 75. And we definitely can't do the 100. So that's.
So then what, we would need people to RSVP somehow before the
Okay,
date.
Hold on, thanks for bringing that up, Kyle. I've seen on other occasions, other committees, where we have the people register. How it works with the one I'm familiar with, elderly affairs, where we have all these people go and register and then they don't show up. Some of them don't
Yeah,
show up.
so this was,
And we pay, what,
no,
How
that's
does
the
that
free
work?
service to any other committee, so we can set that up for you guys if you like, but I will remind you that we had this discussion last year. And you guys did not like it, like you came to an agreement that you did not want to have police officers and fire reserving for them and their families individually through Eventbrite, because you didn't think that they were all going to. And that's why you guys didn't. go
well,
through
now,
with it last
so
year.
now we tell them, you want to go.
RSVP required.
Want to go. Because see, we get a lot of people that they just happen to be on the shift and they're showing up and, you know, we get that group. We really only need the people that are nominated for a plaque and all that other type of stuff. We're not talking about bringing
So-
that many people in. You either want to go and you register or you don't.
So
Because
RSVP by a certain date, period.
Exactly.
Because we
So
need a
make
head
them
count.
register on Eventbrite. You either want to show up or you don't and go either.
So we
way
can
go.
start setting up the page for you as soon as you guys pick a date.
We
Keep
have
in
a
mind
date.
with RSVP though. The way we do it for other events, it's open to the public, so anybody can sign up. And I don't know that that's what you guys want. You guys want specific police and fire. So if
Why
you
do-
want to be specific, either one of you would keep a manual log, which I don't think is ideal, but that's an option. Or we go through Eventbrite. What I could do is do like a special promo code where only the people that have that code can or can purchase a ticket, but then you guys would be responsible of getting the word out there to the people that you know you do want to attend. And then keeping in mind that whoever is not on the list, then it becomes a conversation when they're come to check in from the committee, telling them, hey, I'm sorry, you're not on the RSVP, so we cannot let you in. So just keep that in mind.
My feeling is. My experience is with one particular committee that everybody and their brother shows up because it's a free meal. There, I've said it. This is not a free meal. This is an awards ceremony for specific police and fire and their families. So I'd like to be as specific as possible.
Only open to one personnel in the family. That's it.
So how about put it on the chiefs, on the police, on the major and the chief of the town fire things to provide us with a list by a certain date of who's coming and how many they're bringing.
And if you're not on the list, you're not on the list and you go
I
home.
mean, with fire, it's gonna be a lot easy because I can tell you right now, this is simple. The day of, it's the shift that's on,
Oh, it's always,
So
and
you
it's
found-
because it's morning.
including obviously whoever will be receiving the award, and it's family. So that's an easy one right there.
But still, if let's say you're getting an award and I know you're not in a different firehouse and I want to come to support you.
Okay, now hold on. Let me, those of you with fire department, okay? You've got the shift that's coming off, is it at 7 a.m. You change shifts? Because if the guys are coming off at 7, they're hungry, they want breakfast, they're gonna come. The guys,
If I'm
coming
not
up-
mistaken, last year we did what? It was like
How do you
at 8
work?
o'clock, 9
9
o'clock,
to 11.
9 to 11. No one's gonna stick for 2 hours. I'm sorry.
They get a free meal.
That's not-
all right, but wait a minute, we have to go by 11:30.
Let's do 9:30.
For that date, we can't pick the time anymore.
All right, but 9 a.m. is reasonable.
It is a breakfast.
So, right, so I'm gonna tell you,
You should stick.
right there with fire, you're probably looking at station 1 is 7, and then 64, including the chief, that's 8. And 7 is what? 17. So round it off. Let's just say.
Well, and family
20,
members and children.
right, but family members, obviously, of whoever's getting the award. No, I mean, I've never seen, we all have free meal, but if I'm on duty, the odds of me telling my family, hey, by the way, me.
What if it's a steak?
Right, that's more,
That's
that's more of a
dinner.
police thing, sorry. I'm gonna say maybe
It's
25, and really, and that's stretching it.
But we need to control it somehow, just in case.
That's it right there. Chief, listen, I mean, it's only open to the shift of.
Right, so either get word to them where they can make a list and then provide it to us.
No, I mean, there is, you know, whether they attend or not, I mean, at least you're.
They need, if we're gonna do Eventbrite, well, don't we get a printed out list of those that have registered?
Yes, you do, but again, keep in mind that, do you guys want me to do a promo code, as I just mentioned? That's the only way to control it, that you're only giving it to the people that you guys have given the code, to, right? So I can do that for you, but again, keep in mind that you guys have never done this in the past, and it will be a conversation with somebody that will fall on the committee when you're checking in people and somebody from fire or police shows up and you have to turn them away, unfortunately. So just be prepared for that if that's how you want to go with it.
What you said would work for us, for sure. We can set a deadline. The major can send an email and say, guys, we're having the award ceremony.
And
We
the
need a head count reference. It's gonna be
RSVP or
RSVP only. We need a specific head count of who's gonna go and.
by this date, boom.
By this date, please, by this date, have it. If you haven't done by this day, then, you know, you're not gonna be able to partake.
Well, that's.
And we don't have 75 with police.
That's
and
more
fire.
than enough. Even with us, it's yeah, it's the same thing.
And then that same email.
Once we solidify on a date, I mean, I can go and even tell you, we're gonna be on a shift that.
50?
No. I didn't say
We
that.
don't,
So we have
no,
plenty.
I'm saying,
75 is fine.
Yeah, that would be the minimum.
oh, all right, so we're set with the 70.
Yes,
for sure.
Okay.
So then we
Send
can
that
do
email
it.
to both ends.
Nancy, just so we're clear then, we will not be doing an event. Because what their suggestion that they're agreeing on is we're just gonna collect an RSVP list sent in from whoever the two representatives for fire and police are.
I think that's the best.
So at that point, you do not need an event. Because you don't,
Okay.
you're not opening it up for people to
So we
sign
don't
up
need a
on it.
special promo code.
You're not gonna need anything
not gonna be
related to
on
event. It's not gonna be.
Yeah, because this way the chief and the major will provide you or whoever with a list of everybody that's coming. And that
With a
would,
cutoff date, because,
correct,
and we can even help
You know what
out
I'm saying
while
here?
being at the door, whatever, listen, I mean.
well, I
We
am
need
gonna
to,
need
you know.
somebody, checking in.
fine.
But you say.
Yeah.
I was probably looking for something here and wasn't paying that much attention, so for the record, for the minutes. What is on the table to vote on? Say it
The
again. All
amount, I would say,
right, no, the whole, motion.
the motion on the amount,
okay, I motion. So reserve the amount to 75. Attendees at the awards breakfast.
Mhm. And we're gonna have we, like I said, I wasn't listening to the plan, how you're gonna do it, you're gonna have a list.
yeah, hold on, let me get
Okay.
caught up on that.
All right. Keep in mind, of those 75 attendees, while you're writing,
It's not sauce.
is.
Wait, we
you've
need a
got-
second, we need a second,
All right, so we're gonna do this in,
increments.
thank you. I don't want to say.
So are we gonna
So,
set,
all right, so the motion, Darwin, 75 attendees.
I've
We
read
get a
it.
second.
I'll second it.
Sure. All in favor of 75 attendees?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that passed.
Okay, now,
Sorry, guys.
now we're gonna go to the method of how we're gonna,
All right, method. I will, because we talked about attendees that voted, just keep in mind, you've also got your, town council people will figure in.
Yeah, I think that's.
We'll come up with a number on that or,
That's a good point. Yeah, I think we're still well within that 75. We're good.
okay, good. All right. So what's next now? Method?
oh wait, before your second motion. Just in case with the town people and whatever, if we exceed this, are you able to buy extra plates? Let's say 2 people show up extra.
They're always ready with about 10 more.
Okay. All right. Just in case.
That will bill you for later.
Okay.
That's what they told us last
Okay.
time.
I'll pay it.
And on the other end, with like, let's say 20 people don't show up, do they?
No,
No,
because they're
so-
preparing,
Yeah, then,
they're buying all those ingredients for you.
That's where doggy bites come
That's
to.
what, well, it's sausage for dinner.
I say maybe on that note, that wait to see how many people actually RSVP.
Correct, yeah, but it's got a date, I'll motion it right now.
What do you mean set a date?
Set a date that's as of this.
They have to be,
Well, cutoff date.
Yes.
All right, okay, so, all right, 75 attendees. We've already passed that motion.
Yeah.
So now part of your method include what you just said, and
well, I guess we have to make a motion on how it's
you're gonna have to
gonna
go down the line with all of these.
be. Go ahead. I guess.
All right, so we're gonna have a motion just,
Come on. All right, I motion to have fire and police reserve by said date,
TBD.
Yeah.
To be determined,
to be determined.
or TBA, to be announced.
Okay.
Fire and police reserved by set date to be announced. Attendance,
For attendance, yeah,
okay.
to the awards breakfast.
You really put some thought into that. Motion, fire, and police reserved by the TPA for attendance. Okay. So I'll second it.
You know, we kind of got ahead of ourselves, guys.
Well, that's good though. You got it?
Let's go back to number 175. We can't,
Why? You got it.
we already voted on 75 attendees. I was trying to squeeze in the 75 because the venue, that's what I'm trying to say, the venue at Miami Lakes. For that price, we need that in here, don't
Yeah, you
we?
guys have to motion if you're gonna move forward with that quote or not.
Yeah, and we can't change the first one that was passed already, so.
No, I
We'll
will just.
work this in at another point.
Well, it's still part of the same.
It's still, yeah, Nancy.
Still
it's-
sounds part of the same item. You're still under business session of the catering.
Okay,
No, 75 attendees is based on this venue.
okay, so, all right, Miami Lakes, so at
Yeah.
Miami Lakes, so yeah.
But are you guys approving this quote? Because you approved, what you decided on is you're gonna have the event for 75. You guys have not approved moving forward with that quote. Like, is
Well,
that what you guys wanna do?
I think when we chose the 75, we were referring to that quote. Because that's all we were, but no, I'm cheating.
No, because you're just saying 75. So or if you want, just revisit the motion.
So we have to
Revisit the
get more
motion.
specific, is what you're saying?
Well,
Yeah,
you
because
want
your
to
motion was
pick
just, we
number.
want to deliver 75 people. What you want to do is motion that you're gonna move forward with that
Based on the
quote,
current,
current quote.
the current
For Miami
quote
Lakes.
at the.
So here, so we want to change number 1 that we passed.
Yeah, so he'll revisit it. That's all you have to do.
So all you have to do is decide that it's like.
Revisit it and then you guys want to approve it as.
All right, so
So I motion-
basically,
I motion to approve the 75 attendees.
I'm sorry, it's another motion, it's number 3.
No, it's not. He's revisiting
It's
the
just
old
same
one.
one.
Okay, all right, revisit. 75 attendees
Based on, okay,
at Miami Lakes Hotel.
the venue to be held at Miami Lakes Hotel and Golf Club. For set amount, 3,200.
No, I don't, wait, is it?
Yeah, 3,286.
32 in,
3,286.
okay, sorry. Okay. He only just gave me these this evening, so.
Okay, so we're good there.
So since you guys have made the
Alright,
motion to move
so-
forward with that, I'll confirm it now.
Second motion.
No, you had a motion, you had a second, now we have to vote. All agreed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. One, number two, motion of the fire and police reserved by set date to be announced,
Correct.
attendance to awards breakfast. We didn't vote on that one yet.
On what?
We didn't vote on that one.
No, the
yet.
motion was just made. We'll vote on it now.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so
We didn't vote on it.
we're
The motion-
saying we have to reserve by a set date. That was what that motion was. So we got a motion from Darwin and second by George.
And then-
All agree?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay. 1, 2, and 3, anything else?
No, ma'am. Okay. What time did we start the meeting? Did you call it to order?
Yes, I did. It's not 7:12, I think I said. Yeah, 7:12,
Okay,
that's it. Remember numbers, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, right, so that's Schuler's. Okay, so because we agreed with that, I don't have to go with the other suggestion, which I had you. Did you see the agenda?
Yeah, my
I was
suggestion,
gonna have you make that suggestion.
I mean, I can,
You can,
Say it.
does he have to withdraw it because it was part of the
No,
agenda?
it's up to you guys, you can continue the conversation. Things
Well-
can be revisited, it's up to you guys.
just for a later time, maybe.
Yes, I love your idea and I don't want you to forget it. And because it's on the agenda, I would at least like to say he came up with an idea and that's why I added it to the agenda.
So in case it were to happen where the money wasn't enough, just simply catering, a breakfast catered to the town station. You know, like a small
The
catering
box,
to the town, which is way cheaper than any of this, because there's no venue, just, you know. Because it happens all the time, you know, for like, police appreciation, you know, different vendors will come by and they'll drop off different things. And then any type of award, doing it at the following council meeting. And that's it. You know, simplifying it, and then it will be super cheap.
for those awards for the council meeting, because remember when we did the coin presentation to that young boy? That's done before the council meeting starts on a Tuesday. So, you know, if we say, hey, we're gonna do something like this and present the plaque to the police and the fire, it would be 1 hour or so before the council meeting starts. For those of you who don't know how that was done and you weren't there or whatever. And I thought that was a great idea and option, whatever, because we just didn't have the money at the time. Until, I mean, just 2 days ago, I realized we could cut down the amount of people and make it to Shores, and luckily we did. So it got saved this time, but God knows what it's gonna be. But it's an option to keep in mind for the future. And,
Fire would be
and
the same thing, yeah.
the thing is, we're lucky enough that we get that budget, but I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna lose it if we don't use it as a breakfast. That's our premier thing for the year.
That's our only event, big event.
Yeah. And in case I didn't mention it, because I don't remember if I did anymore. The only money that we can have carryover is anything from sponsors. We don't have any sponsors, so any money we don't spend, we're losing. That's it. We don't even get to ask for it like I thought we were gonna get to do before. So that was why I was so happy. And this kid worked with me up until 6 p.m. this evening, handing me these things. And eliminating some of the numbers. Okay, so we are good on the new business. I'm worn out, guys.
One thing on your breakfast, the dates that were given to us were May 13th and May 20th. Are we going to confirm those dates because we need to let him know?
All right, the reason why, and we're sticking with whatever the heck is on here, because the previous week, I think it was the tenth, what did you say, the
May
13th?
13th and May 20th is what they have on hold for us,
Okay,
waiting for
the
us to confirm.
13th is, the Mother's Day weekend. If I remember correctly. Anybody got a calendar? That's why I didn't go with that one, because the 14th is Mother's Day. You're all taking your wives out to dinner, or you're going out of town to be with your mother somewhere. I did not like that weekend, so I only want the 20th.
So we have to make
I-
a motion for that day?
No, you don't
Well,
make a motion.
it's already in here, I believe. You never
But
gave
that's
me
a-
the 13th. I didn't know the 13th. was
Yeah,
still
well, he's been
available.
having that on hold, so he was
The
gonna hold
20th
it till still.
So May
Okay.
15th is Peace Officer Memorial Day,
So that's perfect.
so that we.
That week, yeah.
So with
There you go, May 20th.
20th.
Okay, so, I thought I was going to contact Elliot. Do you want to do it?
No, you
Don't you
can go
have
ahead.
it?
No, that's fine. I told him, he's been waiting on us.
I know.
So that's why I just wanted to let him know, but you can give him a call tomorrow and let him know
Well,
that's fine.
you should see the changes he made from this afternoon. Like I said, I got this in my hands.
He just
at
needs to
6
send me
o'clock.
the invoice so we can start processing, that's all.
Then
So
wait a minute,
Nancy
do
will-
one of these, count?
That's
Here,
so
you
cool.
look-
He needs to send me that. That's what I'm saying. Do you want me to do it or do you want to? do it?
No, the part that the town needs, I think you should do.
What
You know
I
what I'm
need
saying?
is an invoice. He could just send that to me.
Right there.
But that's not an invoice. That's a quote. There's a
That's
difference.
all I have, but to.
That's why I'm
confirm
saying, do
anything
you want
with
me to, he's not gonna give us an invoice until it's confirmed. So do you wanna go and confirm it with him or do you want me to?
No, that's a town thing. You do it.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna reach out to
This
him.
way, yeah, you.
Okay,
Now,
For
if
May
you want
20th.
it- He made extra copies for me to give out.
Yeah, but no, because then you gotta make motions to attach it and it's crazy.
Exactly, but give
But
it
that's
to
not
her.
what she needs though.
that's not what I need.
She needs an
I'll
invoice.
with him then.
She needs an invoice
Okay.
directly from.
All right,
Okay, so we
just
have,
make sure he adds, because he kept leaving off the podium. The microphone, podium, and a speaker.
okay, so we
Okay.
picked May 20th. Do we have a time? Are we gonna do 9 to 11 like last time?
All he had available was till 11, because you guys need to be out of there by 11.
You have to be up.
Yes, we do 9 to 11,
9 to 11,
just so I could put it in my notes.
9 to 11 a.m. Yeah, we have to be out by 11:30 or
We're good, we're gonna be out.
well, like I said, I'll wash dishes if I have to. He
Darwin can load up his doggy bags really quick.
cut right, like you can see in the note. He was still working off of some of these other ones.
Said he's gonna hold off till after the
You're gonna get nailed, right? By the way, the other thing, guys, that only covers the food. The plaques, I'm gonna be real specific this year. I don't want any retirees. We can't do all that.
No.
It's gonna be. And last year, we did do, I believe it was police. We did 2 plaques because 2 officers
Right.
got the award and they got the call.
We had
And
no
that I
retirees
don't
last
have any
year.
problems.
We-
No,
Yeah, no, that's
No.
done.
exactly. So, I want 1 name for police, 1 name for fire. If 2 guys on fire did something special, or what, then I have no problem with. Yes, they both deserve. I don't care who did one thing and who did the other. They're both part of that case. And we will hopefully have enough money to buy those plaques. If not, I will find a way. I'll respond to it. We'll deal with that as soon as we know. And now we're gonna need, we're talking May 20th, we're going to need to decide when we need to request those names from the police and fire.
Well, he'll probably tell Isle,
Well, you got May 20th, so it has to be, I can find out how long the plaque people, the trophy people need to make it
and
up.
the guy could tell her by when he needs it, and then we could decide on a.
I'm gonna ask him what's the latest we can make an adjustment on this quote, if we wanna go lower. Or more,
Or
yes.
just, or just ask him, by when do you need the total amount of people? Because we're planning.
Well, right now, he'll go forward with this. If we don't change it, he's gonna stick to 75, we're gonna sign it out.
But by when does he need?
But if you guys wanna change it, that's what we need to ask him, like, what's the latest I can give him so he can adjust.
Before we change
You're
it?
talking
What-
35 people,
What
a
we're
little
asking
more
is
than,
by what date?
What's this cutoff?
Do you need what? Does he
A
need?
final number.
That's what I'm explaining to you guys. The final number is, the number is 75. Like, if I don't reach out to him from here to the event date, you guys are gonna stick to 75.
Okay.
I guess the question would be if you wanna up it, or if for any reason you wanna downsize it.
Need it, but.
How-
Come on.
maybe I missed it because I stopped writing. What did we decide on the registration and all that business?
Yeah, he did a motion on that.
Yeah, it's gonna be provided by
Like
the,
that date to be announced, we said it, and then
And who's taking that information? We're not doing it through Eventbrite.
the chiefs are gonna
we sent
provide.
respective, police and
The
fire
chiefs are
personnel.
gonna take a
Whoever,
list.
whatever.
They're gonna make a list and submit it to us by a certain date.
Correct. We have to give them that date.
Okay, now the thing is, you're this is my point, you're dividing that 75 by 2.
Mhm.
So what's the real amount that you want to give them? You did half of 75, tell them.
Well, it's actually less. You got the.
Well, remember what I
town
said,
council
right?
stuff.
I mean, just with fire, you're looking, I gave you 17. These are the people that are working that.
So the
day.
max would be, all right, so let's pretend it's
You know, you're gonna have like,
70, it's 70, let's say, right? And the other 5 are council people and whatever.
Are we counting ourselves? We gotta count ourselves. Yeah.
There you go. So now you're down to 30 for fire and 30 for police. Now you're getting close.
we're,
You see what I'm saying?
But that's okay. There's gonna be a leeway of 10 plates, so
we're good.
I think we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
But you're gonna have to let that police and fire person making the list know when it's gotta stop.
Yeah, we'll come up with a
You know,
date.
he can't come up with 75. We don't want 75
Right, this is, yeah,
from them. So you, all right, whoever.
We'll come up with a date.
but that's easy. Hey, this is what we have
Okay.
based on our budget. This is what we have.
Well, you
People that
guys
are
would
working on
do,
duty that day.
you guys would use that, the date he gives me for cutoff.
That's the
To
day. that
gauge
people
yourself
working.
with.
Yeah, because you have a lot of off-duty officers that come also with their families.
Well, they also need to submit that list of names to us, yes. So who's ever at the door?
Yeah,
Okay.
because if I live in the town and if it's a police appreciation thing, even though I'm not getting an award and I'm not on duty, I'm gonna come because
That's fine. That'll allow, that's why. you-
By this date,
Your major, you,
by this date.
right, no one's saying you can't come.
Correct.
I mean, again, it's gotta be within that amount.
All right, now on that note, let's say we've got 75 meals that we're paying for. And we've only got 60 people signed up. Are we going to in any way, let's say your next door neighbor, he's your best buddy, you're getting the plaque. They'd like to go.
Is
A
it
regular
out? Is it out?
citizen.
Oh, no. Citizens haven't come in.
No,
We've never had citizens come in, only the families of the officers, right? I don't remember citizens coming.
but I don't remember us saying
How would they-
no citizens. I don't know.
I
never
think
said
we've
that.
always said, yeah, I think if it's,
This one-
we're back to the same, if we're within the amount. You know, because, yeah, I mean, you don't want to cut it off on, let's say if it's the officer that's getting an award, I mean, he wants his grandmother there, he wants his.
He includes it in his.
Exactly.
All right, okay, so, all right. Anybody attending,
this already.
police or fire only can make the guest list. That's
10:30.
how you. That's how you, word it. Police, fire, and their families. That's it. Okay,
Okay, so
anything else?
we're good for next meeting date and time.
The time is wrong on the agenda, so make sure to note it.
I know what we've been putting 6:30 and it's become 7.
No, it's always been 7, at least for the last year and a half.
Okay.
So we don't have to make, a motion.
No, I
we
just
can
wanted you guys to be
verbally-
aware. But you don't show.
Okay, so March 28th at 7 PM.
Announcements? Any announcements?
No, I think you're
You
ready
guys
to
are doing an
adjourn.
excellent job, I want you to know that. You too, Al.
I think you're ready to adjourn.
Take the weekend off.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
It was 8:32. What is going on in bro?
Okay, let me write this down. Nancy,
I'm sorry,
motion to
sorry.
adjourn.
8:32 PM.
All right, now. I did have. The catering guy make some copies.
Nancy, motion to adjourn. I second it.
Just for the sake of it.
8:32.
Hola.